Alright, welcome back to another drawing video, where today we're going to be undertaking a pretty big drawing. This is essentially what is a creature's overview. But there's going to be more than just the creatures. This drawing is going to have the four main characters of the Elementals Reborn universe that I've deemed as the four main characters. One of them we're drawing right now is Gwyneth, and she's going to have a I don't know how to explain this expression, but she's going to have a panicked look on her face, and you will see soon when we get to the point where we actually draw it. But aside from that, we're going to also have Ariella kind of just looking back, look like she's about ready to cast a spell or something. Domadora probably going to be freaking out. And again, through over here, going to have a shield up. Other than that, not really a whole lot outside of those four characters. After the characters are drawn, we have a bunch of creatures. Like I said, the creatures overview. And we're going to have three of new creatures that's on the basic animal class list. You know, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, stuff like that. We got like 6, but this universe has 9. Potentially 10 if you want the the super secret hidden creature, the something for like the plot or something for like future seasons or something like that. You get what I mean. But yes, this is what we're doing, and it's great to want to get this done with. Because for one thing, we've been building up the Chrome Wars universe with a bunch of like landscape areas and certain things. Like the main major difference with Chrome Wars and Elementals Reborn, outside of the obvious thematics there, is the fact that Chrome Wars is simply put a bunch of giant mechs. There's 4 factions. There's not a whole lot of like intricacies or like any like mechanics, quote unquote, that you would that you would have in this particular universe. But the Elementals Reborn, they have a lot going on for it. Different types of creatures, elements, equipment, stuff like that. And I guess, technically speaking, Elementals Reborn does have, or for Chrome Wars, does have weaponries, and also, like, unique mechs. But that's different. This one is going to have, like, some creatures shown, but it's not going to be like the mechs where we have a whole bunch of creatures in the instance. I think I need to... I'm not sure the direction of the eyebrows I want to take here. But she needs to have like a somewhat of a sad surprised look on her face. But yes, there's still like a whole lot more left that we have to do. I don't have it open here, but I can grab the artwork idea notepad thing and look at it. So, the creatures overview, we got the mana overview, equipment overview, gemstone overview. We got the gods of light and darkness, which is giving you more information about the goddess of light than the god of darkness. We got the edge dragon overview, which is not that important, but I think it's going to be pretty cool to have. And then there is the overview of the world. Other than that, once you get those overviews finished and done with, then we can start doing the Elementals Reborn series. Episode by episode here, folks. Similar to Nova Guardians, except it's 22 minutes per episode, not 44. Nova Guardians is like an hour-long episode. It's like NCIS and all those other, shows you see on like TV that are like certain lengthy storytelling ones. I think that's have we ever had like ever gotten an anime that's like an hour-long episode? Have we? With something like the hour-long shows on TV with like real people, I feel like that's easier to work with because all you gotta do is film the set. But with an hour-long episode, you have to animate everything. What is easier, though? I guess that's the question. Is it easier to film an hour-long episode of, with real-life people? Or is it easier to animate it? I have to imagine it's easier to film it. Once you have, like, all the footage and stuff, and then you got, like, make it go through the editors so it looks nice. Once that's all done with, it's pretty much ready to go right then and there. With animation, you have to, like, draw all these scenes out, which then leads you to getting voice actors to, do voice acting for that. But at the very least, they don't have to, like, fully act. They just gotta use their voice to act out the scene. But, yeah, still, it's kind of an interesting question, to say the least. What is easier to create? And that, my friends, is not something I can really tell you because I don't do any of those. I mean, I have done like 3D animation with that 15-minute Jaden animation with, the pink hair girl and the Patreon stuff. But other than that, no, grab this. Grab the thing there. Other than that, it's a completely different beast. Animating a 3D model is easier because you gotta manually move each piece, while when it comes to 2D, you have to redraw certain scenes. Although I guess that's not entirely true for certain shows that use weird flash animations or whatever it is. One show that I know of off the top of my head that uses flash animations, I believe, is Johnny Test. Been a while since I've seen that. And when I look back at Johnny Test, there's like, Susan and Mary. I remember long ago when I was young and that show was on and I had a crush on those two. And then, probably like 19 at this point, I find out, oh, wait, they're 13 years old? Seriously? But they're in college. Oh well, that sucks, but I can't do drawings with them now, can I? However, there is Lila Test. They, gotta give Kakyoin a good power in the back there. Got that MILF right there. He's looking down on us. He's like, yes, good. Go, my child. Indulge in that MILF activity. God. But, yes. Also, I probably shouldn't... Wait, no. I can probably just do this. I want this to be closer together. Yeah, that's better. Too far apart doesn't look good. Close together is fine, especially since switched head and all that. But yes, we definitely do have an idea with Lila Test. We don't even have to consult Luna with this one. Because we still got who I believe is the most underrated or underused characters in the show, Miss X and Miss Z. I'm sure somebody's already drawn something with them. And Lila, or at least, maybe not. If I were to look that up on DeviantArt, I probably wouldn't find anything to do with those. Damn right, you're probably going to find stuff with Susan and Mary, obviously, but not the MILF. Which is strange, to say the least. It's the same instance with Ori Takarada. Also, I feel like I'm not doing the mouth. Let me do the chin first, the head and hair, and before I do that. Because we're trying to get like a certain look going here. But I don't know where I'm going for. Anyways, back to what I was talking about before. Ori Takarada, barely any art of her, but there's art of her daughter. And daughter's friend. The same applies to Susan and Mary Test with Lila Test. Seriously, people. You can't forget the MILF. There's some people who haven't forgotten about the MILF. Thank you. You're doing us a good service. But you can't forget the MILF. I don't give a damn if you're going to be drawing Susan and Mary. All I ask for you is to draw the MILF. Draw Lila Test. Draw Lori Takarada. Draw all the MILFs in all the animes. Hell, even Deku's mother. Sure, why not? Both before the potatofication and the potatofication. Freaking, why the hell not? That isn't okay. There's an. I want to know if anybody else has like this thought process here. Bakugo's mother, right? Hear me out here, folks, because this is a strange like feeling I get when I look at her. Because we're introduced to Bakugo first and foremost, I can't help but see his mother as, you know, how do I explain this? The situation goes, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Like mother, like son. That's the word. I can't look at art of her without seeing Bakugo. And it makes sense because she has the same hair, the same angry complexion and all that stuff. And it's just strange. And I don't know why. I can't explain it. I mean, granted, I guess my stance would probably change as soon as I draw her at some point. Which I will, at some point. And all the other MILFs. As soon as some of them are shown. Maybe not Frobby's mother. I'm not sure about that yet. We haven't seen that in the anime yet, but I looked up the wiki and, I'm looking at her parents. Frobby is adorable, alright? But her parents, where'd all that adorableness come from? Because I'm sorry, folks, but it did not come from her parents. Maybe if you like Frogman. But, I don't know, wide face. Maybe the wide face and the frog complex kind of like balanced something out. Maybe she's getting her even. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. But yes, we were talking about MILFs and somehow we got to this conversational topic. But I don't know what to say. Where do I go from here? We've kind of reached an impasse, didn't we? Yep, an impasse. I'm probably not going to be doing like all of the recording for this particular drawing. Some here and there. It is Monday after all, you know, distractible. So I'm probably going to like stop at some point on the outline process to watch that. Or halfway through, I haven't figured it out yet. We'll see what happens at that point. Yeah, if I didn't look at the references for Gwyneth, I'd have a very difficult time trying to get the hair in the right spot. Even though I have a general idea on how it all looks, it's still good to want a reference point. I don't know why, Gwyneth's design is just so appealing to me. Her hair, first time I drew her, she looked so adorable, even without being able to see her eyes. And I'm glad I did draw her eyes the way I did. Alright, now that that's been shown, do I want to, something like that. I want to try to get like an anime mouth here, where she's like, what's what I'm looking for? Make it consume some beverages here. Drink your beverages. Eat your fries. That's right, cat. You want to sniff this? Now you're just going to sit there and not move. I was hoping to get the cat to sniff the liquid. Even though it's probably been like diluted by all the milk The cat. Okay, well, y'all know that there is Pepsi milk. But the cat, when she sniffs Pepsi, she gives that squinty looking and just backs away. And there she goes. Luckily, I don't have to worry about the cat coming in and ruining everything because there's no hotkeys to turn off the recording. Let's get the teeth in, I guess. Actually, no. No, wait, I got an idea. Tongue. I think what I need to do, actually, is shrink the eyes a bit. Especially this part. Because she's supposed to be in a panic. Alongside the rest of her group. Oh god. Do not zoom in. Maybe tilt her head a bit. Yeah, how does everybody think about that new giant test? The reboots. I ain't going back to it because I kind of outgrown it. The whole fact that, there's not really much I watch anymore. I'm busy nowadays. The only thing that I take time to watch now is either Rick and Morty or now that new Harley Quinn show and whatever's on Toonami. I don't know what the entirety of that new Giant Test reboot's gonna be all about. I feel like it's gonna fail. And there is an audience for it at some point, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't care either way. It's just good to have another mother to draw for soon-to-be fetish art. Chances are I might draw her going into the next limitation period, somewhere around that point. I mean, like I said before, I have I have 5. I don't remember if I said anything, but I am definitely going to be having one particular drawing in mind going into the next limitation period, the mature drawing aspect. Anybody know that game, Crush 'Em All, the mobile game? Well, I'm planning on doing something with the Vulcan girl. And, of course, it's going to take up that 5th slot in the mature drawing section. So look forward to that. If you're into that kind of stuff. I mean, why not? After all, why shouldn't I draw my favorite character and undergoing some sexual scenario? Damned be it the Puritans who cannot handle seeing such things. If you if your eyes are unable to withstand the lewdness of your favorite character going through these certain scenarios, then you, son, should walk away before it's too late. And don't even try to shame me. Does it look like I have Shane? I admitted to wanting to be in tentacle hentai as the women in the thing. Does it look like I feel shame? Nah, man, I am grade A, 100% weird. I'm not normal. Man, I just love a woman who could actually just literally kill me. Anybody remember that? I'm sure you don't, Cat. You were born like last year, and that was how long ago? Speaking of which, I didn't even know there was a Cowboy Bebop movie, and I really wish I'd been able to see it. And if you want to know my opinion on that there live action, I say no. I don't really care for just the general look of it. I've seen the anime, and I can't really say I'd want to see that, especially, the whole... Everything just feels off there. Maybe the fight's good. Yeah, who knows? But I'm not interested. There's only like a few live-action things that I'd see. And, well, I guess... I'm not really that much of a movie person in general, so I guess it doesn't matter now, does it? In terms of, movies. I don't really go out there and go to movie theaters. We used to before in the past. But even if it wasn't for like that whole pandemic mess, I still don't go to the movies anymore. I'm just not a movie person anymore. There might be like a few exceptions for certain movies, especially if I can like get the ability to watch the Demon Slayer movie. I mean, why not? I really do hope at some point we do get season 2 on Toonami, because apparently it's connecting the episodes from the movie and onto that. But now apparently Sony is freezing Demon Slayer from Toonami, and it's kind of annoying. Streaming is really ruining my particular niche activity on Saturday nights now, isn't it? And I hate it. And at the same time, it feels kind of cheap, you know? Just being able to watch whatever you want and not have something. Like, if you binge it, you're going to end up not having anything after that. At least with Toonami, you can make these things last longer. And it gives you something to look forward to at the end of every week. That's the thing that I feel like most people don't understand. Most people will be like, well, that's stupid. Why don't you just watch it whenever you want to watch it? And be like, I mean, I could, but if I did that, I'll just end up binge watching the whole thing. I had to restrain myself from watching the entirety of Harley Quinn and have it like one day after the next, so I wasn't going to like run out of it immediately. And, yes, and at the very least with that, like, season 3 comes out, I don't know how HBO Max does all of its, but there was like an episode with the Batman-specific episode where it showed that the next episode wasn't coming out until next week, so maybe there's that. I mean, that would be great to have streaming services do that. But at the same time, Toonami's more like old anime, so regardless, no matter what, you're always going to have the backlog. The cat just pulled a blanket or sheet over her head. You just did this and then plopped it on her head. She's just looking at me now. I don't know why. I don't even know you can really see, like, you can't see most of my movements down here, right? Yeah, it's only like up here. Here and here. I feel like I should try to get another camera at some point, but it seems like I'm potentially getting a new desk chair, and I know for a fact that I'm getting a new monitor, which is going to be great. I'll be able to observe the OBS overlay, and even so, if somehow the Minecraft video ends by the cat pressing the N key, or me somehow accidentally pressing the N key, I'm not going to be able to combine the clips because I can't for some reason. Apparently, the OBS records in a certain freaking file that, like I've said before, can't combine anything. Why I have to have parts here, which is kind of annoying. Although I will say, if somehow Minecraft ends in a certain abrupt way, I would make a special 2-parter and make the episodes a little bit longer at that point and hope that it doesn't happen again, right, cat? Or, like I said before, we just try to quick time the mouse to the bed. Well, we've been getting pretty lucky with the videos ending at the nighttime in Minecraft. So for how long that's going to last, I have no clue. But we'll keep on ending it there if we can, you know. It's not really that big of an issue. I did have a story to talk to y'all about. Another weird story. And it did have something to do with the duplicates. Yeah, I think it's time we speak about the Barney duplicates a little bit more, shall we? And one of the famous ones that, well, quote-unquote famous, but famous in my head, ones that I hark back to, not multiple times, but at least definitely a few times. So, the premise here is that there's this giant box, this giant metal box. And there's like very tiny, sprinkle-sized Barneys. Barney Rubble over here, very tiny. And deep down, close to the bottom layer of the box, All the Barneys up top are frozen in place and cannot move. But deep down, there's a subset of Barneys that somehow manage the ability to move. They aren't entirely too sure why there's a bunch of Barneys that are, like, frozen in place. They refer to those Barneys as wall Barneys, or, you know, floor Barneys, wall Barneys, ceiling, roof, caves, all sorts of stuff, really. She's not going to be this big. She's going to be, like, somewhere around this small, because we have to have her character, animals, big creatures, stuff like that. So, these Barneys are unable to move, and there's a subset of Barneys that can move, and then they move around the area, and, you know, they do their thing. So, here's the main premise. You start playing as a Barney inside of one of 4 kingdoms. And this particular gameplay takes place in, let's say, the bottom left side of the map. The quote-unquote normal kingdom. Because let me tell you something, boy. It gets really weird in this story. So, strap on tight, bro. Get your, I don't know, your anti-dumb helmet on to prevent you from losing brain cells, because it's going to be a pretty wild ride. So, the normal Barneys, the ones that which are on the bottom left side of the map, are essentially just like knights in a medieval kind of scenario. The equipment they're wearing is of bone and flesh, but this is a pretty common equipment for almost all of the kingdoms. And there's a reason why that's common, and I'll get into that in a bit. So we're going to go on to what I would say the more prominent kingdom that is considered the main antagonist, but is like the ones you commonly come across, not like the others you don't commonly come across, but you come across this particular Barneys the most. So unlike the normal Barneys, who have like a relatively normal personality, god damn it, I said it. Why are you like this? I'm pressing Control Z, you fool. Idiot. Anyways, normal Barneys, not the same personality as regular Barney, the original Barney, but at the very least, they are, you know, normal compared to the rest here. Going up to the top right, I did say the normal Barneys were bottom left, right? And in case I didn't say it, it is bottom left. In case, you may never know. My brain is on the fritz today. Got a lot of bullshit happening at work, but it's fine. Let me think. So, yeah, right there. So the top right Barneys. These Barneys are essentially, their name is the Gore Barneys. And what they are is they are these psychopathic, bloodthirsty, murdering Barneys who go out into the Barney fields, or whatever the hell it's going to be called, to find Barneys from other kingdoms to murder. And these Barneys are decked to the teeth with bone and flesh armor, because the Barneys that they kill, they utilize that bone and flesh armor. And you will see why this is relatively, you know, less morbid, but still morbid, in the fact that almost all the kingdoms use this. So these Barneys are basically murderers and psychopaths. Their entire kingdom is not the same as the bottom left. The bottom left, I'd say, is like a leather kingdom. Leather walls, i.e. the skin from the wall Barneys, covering the other wall Barneys to essentially make these rooms and stuff and whatnot. But these Barneys, their entire kingdom is bloody. Full of blood, guts, viscerals, as far as the eye can see. In their own little corner of the map. Even the area that is in their castle, kingdom kind of place, which is wall of flesh, kind of plastered onto the other Barneys. Barney walls, I mean. And outside of the kingdom walls, it's just more blood. There's like these water pools and stuff like that. Some Barneys are drowning. The Barney walls are drowning in the pool. But in this area, it's just a bunch of blood. And the Barneys there are drowning in blood. Strange, right? I will note that Fred Flintstone isn't in this one. This story involved 100% solely off of the Barney duplicates. So, aside from the gore Barneys, we'll save the worst one for last. We'll call these Barneys the high Barney, or the weed Barney, or whatever you want to call it. Think of this side of the sprinkle fridge as the area that's growing this weird green mold-like looking thing, which is Kush. It's literally just weed. That's all it is. And the Barneys that are in this area are high off their rockers. But the Barneys who reside within this kingdom have a higher tolerance to it. In other words, they essentially are immune to the high, like the full-on high effect. Any other Barneys that come into this area starts to feel useless. They start to feel like they're unable to do anything. Until they get to the point where they sit down, put their arms back, and just look up. Look up in the sky with their eyes squinting, or sky, the Barney ceiling, as the other high Barneys come in to, I think, bring that Barney in and probably utilize him as food or something, as well as armaments. And that's in the bottom right corner of the map. Now, brace yourselves, folks. Here's where the very disgusting part of this story comes in. These Barneys are called feral Barneys. What does their entire area consist of? Literally just shit and piss. That's right. Shit and piss. Smeared all over the Barney walls, all over the floors, all over the ceilings. They literally have, if we have normal lakes, the gore Barneys have blood lakes, and the, does Kush have a liquid state? You know, screw it. And the weed Barneys have Kush lakes filled with liquid, green liquids. The feral Barneys have piss lakes. And it's disgusting. These Barneys act like animals, right? They don't have any speech patterns, and their main objective is to pummel the shit out of any Barneys that's not feral, and even those that are feral that are encroaching upon certain Barneys' territories. They pummel the shit out of them as well. And if there's a lake nearby, they'll drown you in it. Yes, that's right, you're drowning in a lake full of piss, and it's disgusting. It's an area that you want to avoid as much as you can. These Barneys, however, don't have flesh or bone armor because they're so feral that they don't have the need to wear any of that because of their insane strength. And there you go. That's located on the top left of the map. There's the 4 major kingdoms. There is, however, one major important area in the middle, which is essentially like this locked-off well that none of the Barneys can get into. No matter how many of the Barneys that they kill in the walls will just keep collapsing down and keep filling in that spot in order to prevent them from being able to get into there. There's an important area there, but it's not that important right now. So, now that we've established the main 4 kingdoms of this strange game of ours, because this is a game, this is basically an RPG. And unlike the Telltale, this is like an actual... Think of it like Minecraft survival kind of stuff. You can build your own settlement out there. You can hire Barney guards from the, the nearby kingdom. You can, become a miner and mine certain Barney deposits or something. And it doesn't exactly matter like where you mine it, because no matter what, you're going to be killing a Barney wall. Which leads us to the morbid topic here, mining for materials. So unlike most survival games, you don't really need to go anywhere to mine certain things. You only really need to go out into the wild and just pick a wall and mine it. And you get bone and flesh from the Barneys that you've killed. And you do hear them screaming in pain. Kind of just like, they're just sitting there, and all the Barneys in the area that are in the Barney wall, that like the only ones that are affected by this is the Barney walls, because they're the ones that can't move or do anything. And all the other Barneys that are moving and doing stuff realize that they are not going to get mined, and they are not going to freak out. So, yes, the Barney wall is being mined for its materials. This is how you get armor and tools, essentially. You start off with the basic set of tools, and you can upgrade the set of tools by getting more materials. Same with armor and all that stuff. You can even utilize an ability to skin and tan the Barney skin, and then you got leather walls. You're even able to, like, somewhat mine a Barney out of, like, the wall space to get, like, a brick, quote-unquote, or a block. A block of Barney. And the funny part is, it doesn't matter what you mine out, because it's all the same. So you go through the area, you got your basic combat, your sword, bow, shield, that kind of stuff. You got your pickaxe, which is, you know, the only tool because, let's face it, there is no wood. There is going to be dirt, though. There is a very important aspect to this, because don't forget, you are in a metal box. Which means that there is an edge to the world, and you can mine it out. Which will lead us to a very important tool type that we'll get to soon. So yes, you can mine out Barney blocks. This requires you to not like hit the Barneys, but hit around them to like loosen up the space and cause the Barney wall to fall. And certain Barney walls are like, this is how like the area is reproducing Barneys, because Barneys are dying left and right due to, you know, infighting. So there are certain spots in four corners that will drop a Barney wall. And if the kingdom is in need of another Barney to add to the populace, they will let that Barney live, and they will put them through the works of how the world works. If not, they will kill them. Well, the other three kingdoms will. The normal Barney kingdom will not kill them. Mainly because I think those guys are the ones that are like going to be more sympathetic. Once you get the ability to move your body, you are now a living Barney instead of a Barney wall. So there's multiple different skills you can learn, crafting skills to make certain things and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot of materials you can get here, because you mine all the Barneys and then you get all the stuff. That's it. I think most of what this entails is trying to like escape the area or fight certain Barneys. Although I guess, yeah, there is Kush. That would probably be like a very important material within the Weed Kingdom, which I will call. Then there's also blood, guts from the other area. I mean, yeah, you can mine Barneys, but I think you only really get like flesh and bones, just to kind of like differentiate it. It'd be easier to just grab the guts and stuff from a pile of Barneys who have been dead for ages. Or not a pile of Barney, but just like laying around. And what can the shit and piss be used for? I don't know, maybe a stink, a stink bomb? maybe like a good deterrent to kind of like prevent certain Barneys from the other two kingdoms. You know for a damn fact that the pharaohs aren't going to care because they literally live in it. I guess also, you probably could make something out of piss. Some explosive or something. I mean, isn't there something to do with bat urine and some, like... If I'm remembering Dr. Stone correctly, there's some, like, chemical mixture you can, like, perform to make explosive with piss. Which is strange. But I don't know if you can do that here because, again, you're in a metal box with the only thing around you being metals and Barneys. Maybe... Okay, so let's get on to the mining part, shall we? The metal portion. There is going to be a need to collect metal. What this entails, you may ask, is you need to mine past... Whoops, I did not mean to grab the hand. Why did you grab the hand? You need to mine past a certain point. Either going left or going to the side or going down below. You can mine upwards, but that's not that important. Mining upwards is kind of a good way to, like, there would be multiple paths here. You can try to build, like, a better civilization kingdom up top and have it be only accessible from the bottom area, from the kingdom. And make it so that if there is ever a Barney incursion where the other kingdoms try to get to you, you mine out the area and ensure that nothing like happens there. There is an escape sequence there that allows for you to escape from the top, but that's not really a good escape sequence. It doesn't lead to the true ending, at least. But it is an ending, so to speak. So then you go on over and mine down below to try to get to the metal. And it's important because you also want to get to the dirt. Because at the moment, the only diet the Barneys have at this point is a bunch of Barney meat. That's all they have. Mine the walls, get Barney meat. Simple as that. But you can't really, like, keep eating your own look-alike in wall form now, can you? I mean, you could, but you get more benefits from getting, like, to certain parts down below. So, once you mine out the metal down below, which is kind of, like, pretty thick, once you've mined out that metal, and also get metal tools and armor, you are going to want to dig into the dirt area to collect dirt, as well as shift through all the dirt to try to find certain seeds. And now, because these Barneys are many, the seeds that they grow here are going to be huge. But it's not going to be that huge. It's probably going to be like, here's the size of a Barney, and here's the size of, I don't know, say a potato or something. And I guess that makes sense. Sprinkles, however, are like very small, so we can consider this to be... Maybe it grows to its environment or something, I don't know. But, yes. You go dig down below into the dirt, and you collect seeds. You use this dirt, making sure that you use the leather to be able to easily, like, keep the dirt in and not have it be kind of seeping through the Barneys, so to speak. The Barney walls. And then you grow the food and get better food items. At this point, you have gotten metal tools, which is very helpful. So what you want to do now at this point, outside of, like, you know, defending yourself from all of the other Barneys, because the good ending is you get out with all of Barneys, but it leads to a very special an ending, so this is like an ending act, so to speak. But before we get to that, I think we should try to go for the quote-unquote bad ending. It doesn't end very well for the team, at least. I know that much for a fact. So if you let's go up, shall we? We're gonna try to, like, play this like it's an actual game. We've mined out a whole bunch of flesh and stuff. We got a bunch of metal from, like, certain things, so we can, like, quickly mine out stuff. And now we've decided to go forth with the plan to expand the kingdom going upwards in hopes of leaving behind these 3 terrible kingdoms and not have to deal with them. We haven't really done any exploration work on the center area, nor have we figured out how to open up the center area, but it's fine. Now we're going up to the middle portion of the box, and we are building up our new civilization. This part is more presets and less of us having to actually build it block by block, thankfully. So once you've gotten the city and all that stuff set up, your next objective then would have to be, this is not connected. Your next objective then would have to be to continue to build upwards, right? Building upwards now means that you're going to be investigating the mysteries of this strange metal box that you and all the other parties are in. Why are you in this box? What is this box? And why is it? So, now we're doing some research and stuff, figuring out, like, some advancements. This is stuff that you can technically do in the beginning area as well, but now you get even more ability to do it, because you went down this route instead of the, the good ending route. You could probably call this the neutral ending, I don't know. So you get your crew to dig up further and further up to where the box meets. I think I'm going to just replace her ruby necklace here to make this a bit easier for me to draw. Besides, it doesn't exactly matter too much. Oh, wait, no. I think I used a heart for this one, just to, like, at the very least showcase that it's kind of where the necklace would be. Anyways, yes. We're now sending our team up, further up. We're following behind, closely behind. And we're about ready to reach the top soon. As we're digging up there's a bunch of rumbling. We can hear, like, the sound of some giant thunder-esque thing. As, like... And then a bunch of rumblings. The Barneys are, like, rumbling up. The Barney walls are like, it's like an earthquake, or in this case, a Barney quake. And after the rumbling ceases, and then you hear another sound. I just made the cat jump. I just see like a blanket jumping. And then, yes, you hear that. You question, what is that noise? You finally managed to get your team all the way up to the top. Took a whole lot of digging, a whole lot of expedition, and all that stuff. But you managed to get to the top. And what you see is another giant metal box, like a wall. In this case, a ceiling. And then a bunch of Barneys just quivering because of that rumbling. And yes, you finally made it. So now you've made it to the top. But now what do you do here at the top? There is this little, like, light coming from, like, the cracks of that box wall thing there. I feel like I need to make this smaller. Or not smaller, shorter. Shorter arms. So there is light coming from the box lid area, whatever you want to call that. And you question how to get out of here. So now your next objective is to witness what could be causing the rumbling. And as soon as you finally witness what's causing all the rumbling, you see this giant thing. The thing that of which I said is the most hated species in all existence. Now, I think we can give them a name, just to make it easier. We're going to call them Poluskis. I think I might have already called them Poluskis in the previous video, but I don't remember. We're going to call these things Poluskis. That's right. So you see this giant-ass Pulley. with a giant scoop coming in down on the Barneys. The Barneys are quivering, shaking, crying, as this giant scooper just picks up all of the Barneys inside. Well, all of them, but a good scoopful. And then it takes them all out and the lid closes up. And this is where things start to get a bit weird. Like, what is these giant things and why do they keep grabbing Barneys? So you then wait until nighttime, because for some reason there is some like lighting in this area. I mean, there has to be lighting, otherwise you're going to be playing in the dark. You need an indication of when nighttime shows up as well. So you wait for night, and then you get your team of Barneys to go up to the top with their ladder. Or like, at least, I don't know, a Barney wall ladder. Maybe a ladder made of flesh and bones or something. A bone ladder. Then you climb up it, and you try to get a better look on the outside. But now you've come across a major issue. How in the hell are we supposed to get out of this area? Because we cannot open up this box at this point. We know for a fact that the box is able to be opened, whatever this area is, this thing is. But we can't get to it. So how do we get to it? Well, then leads up to the next research department, which essentially requires you to build this, like, I guess you could probably call it a pulley system, I don't know. You make this pulley system that will pull open the box. Pull it back, then pull it open. And once you've gotten to the point where you're able to build that, you then need to initiate the next and final step on this particular path towards at least one of the endings at night to open it. Because if you open it while it's daytime, you get a bad ending. No matter what, it's always going to be a bad ending. In fact, it's probably going to be like a game over screen or something. But yes, do not open the box during daytime, lest you want to suffer the wrath of the Pulaskis. Okay, I need to get another reference pic because I did not take into consideration her arms hiding some of her designs. Ah, crap. Where is it again? 37? It's been a while. I don't remember. Oh, there's Ariella. So that means that Gwyneth has to be around here. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, good. That's easy enough for me to remember. And we even have that part showing, so it's fine. Yes, your team discovers the pulley system setup and are now making their move at nighttime. Now, you are on somewhat of a timer, but you don't know that just yet. Or at least the Barneys don't know that just yet. You know because there will be a special cutscene showing that you don't really realize until, like, a certain point in the day happens. I think there's like a certain timer set to where if you don't manage to escape the box before that timer reaches the end, it's basically like an automatic game over unless you're able to escape before it gets any worse. Which we'll talk about soon because it's a major important... my neck. It's a majorly important scenario that involves this particular event. So you open up this box and you see yourself in this giant ass room. Like 100 times the size of the box, maybe even more. And this room looks like an ice cream parlor. That's right, an ice cream parlor. And remember how I said that these Barneys were essentially sprinkles? That's right. These Barneys are sprinkles for the Pulaskis to put on their ice cream. And trust me when I say that it's exactly how it looks. They consume the ice cream with Barneys on it, and the Barneys get eaten and killed. And this might not be exactly where it needs to be, but it's fine. I can adjust things. Whoops. So, yes. The Barneys are being used as sprinkles. It's just the fact that Pulaskis don't seem to go to the bottom of the barrel. They just keep refilling it once it gets to a certain point. And how do they get their, how you say, resupply? Oh no, you're gonna have to wait and see when the time comes. Alright, I'm gonna just delete that and make this again. Just so it's exact. Okay, so, in this particular ending, you get your Barneys out of the box. And in this ending scene, you have to, like, walk across the counters and all that stuff. However, there's really nothing, like, indicating any, like, very safe spots to go to. The areas out of which you have here are kind of, like, barren. You got a bunch of, like, utensils and stuff, a bunch of, like, ice cream and containers and stuff. But other than that, there's not a whole lot more that you can do. Right now, you're currently scouting the area out. And once you've scouted it out, and once you've determined what's the entire area all about, then you gotta bring your team out, the guys of the night, again, abandon all hope, and try to make a walk through the entirety of the countertops. Because there's definitely something out here. You just don't know yet. So your next objective there would have to be to attempt to find a good spot to essentially mine in and live in. But it doesn't end there just yet. Nah. All the other kingdoms, that of which were, you were fighting against, have now been able to get up to your kingdom, and are now about ready to make their way up to where your entire kingdom is right now, walking on the counter. That's all you have to do is walk on the counter. You don't have any good materials or tools to, like, bring with you here except for the stuff on your back. So then you go on ahead, walk through, and you see, far in the back, a bunch of the Gore Barneys coming up and getting ready to slaughter your entire group. And this is where, like, a major fight scene happens, where all of the Barneys in the kingdoms will converge and fight in hand-to-hand combat. Y'all keep fighting and fighting. You get to a certain point where the next kingdom shows up, which will probably be like the Weed Kingdom. Then lastly followed by the Feral Barneys, the Feral Kingdom, or whatever you call it. And then it's just a major fight, and your main objective is to not die. You gotta stay alive for as long as you can and try to win this war. However, it's not as easy as you may think. There is one more threat that you didn't realize at this point, but you saw the cutscene, unless you didn't see the cutscene. If you got to this point before that cutscene shows up, then at this point you're probably going to be confused as hell as to where the hell this thing came out of. So all the kingdoms leave and all the living Barneys leave, but something in the middle was arriving, awakening. Next thing you know, you're in the middle of a fight, and this giant amalgamation of purple, zombie-like Barneys comes out of the top of the freezer, and it looks like a Barney made out of a bunch of smaller Barneys. And this leads you to the ending here, one of the bad endings, where now you're, facing up against this creature with no idea what it is or how to fight against it. And it's slaughtering all of the Barneys and all the kingdoms. Now, your main objective is to either try to fight it or run. And both options just leave in the entire group dying. You get either one epic battle scene where your Barney like runs in, charges at the beast. It's got like that movie cinematic look to it. And all the others follow behind you. All the other kingdoms are like looking in confusion, but they're getting slaughtered by the beast before they really get much of a chance to try to fight back. And your kingdom comes in, valiantly tries to take on the beast, but then they all die one by one. One hand sweeps an entire group. Another hand sweeps an entire group. The entirety of your kingdom gets wiped out as the creature yells its head off. And there you go. You've reached the bad ending. There was no real good way to get a good ending here, to be honest with you, because you chose the wrong path. And I wouldn't blame you for being ticked about this particular ending, because it doesn't make any sense. However, there is a way to get a good ending, and this one is essentially what leads you to salvation. So now that we went through the bad ending, let's start working towards the good ending. Starting anew, we got back to where we were before we decided to make the decision to build upwards. Now we're building downwards. And at this point, we have gotten all of our tools back to where it was before. Gotten all of what we need to get to. If you had a save state before, this point, then kudos to you. But we didn't make a save state. We kind of just went in with it and didn't realize we needed to make a save state. I feel like this needs to be thicker. Oh wait, that's why that's off. I don't have the full-on, what do you call it yet? I can't believe I forgot about that. Almost forgot about that. We didn't forget about it, we just remembered now. Ah, crap, your hand's in the way. But hey, at least it's still here. Alright. Let me see if I can remember that. Zoop, 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 zoop. Zoop, 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 zoop. Zoop, zoop. I forgot already. Zoop, 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 zoop. Wait, not there. Okay, so back to our original positioning. We're already in an hour? Jesus Christ, how are we in an hour in and we only have one outline done with? That's concerning. Alright, I'm closing that out now that we have the shape here that we needed. It's concerning that this part took an hour. Because that means we might only be able to only do... I know Gwyneth is going to be a pain in the ass to draw because of all of the armor, but yeah. Anyways, we're going back down and we're going to continue building off of the lower areas instead. Building off the kingdom there and building off research here. So at this point, we come across a bunch of copper. The further down you dig, the better the materials are you get. So we found some copper, which is great, because now we should be able to create some copper wiring. We dig down deep enough into what is like this weird pipe thing, and it's filled with a bunch of oil. And the Barneys, they have the bright idea to utilize this oil and turning it into a fuel source for a specific type of vehicular device, which is going to be very important. So at this point, the Barneys learn how to make a motorcycle. That's right. They were able to figure out how to make the motorcycle. Done enough research, you'll be able to create the motorcycle like that. However, at this point, we are slowly reaching towards the awakening of the middle, which is a good amount of time for the awakening to occur. Okay, so, whoa. Now that we've gotten the vehicles, we gotta start mining out and getting better, like, mining materials. So at this point, you want to start working towards getting the ability to create the drill. And what this drill is useful for is getting through metal very quickly. This is going to be very useful for the final escape portion. But you gotta be mindful of the time that you're drilling into the side of the wall. You gotta drill into it at a certain point, and don't drill into the exit point of the box. If you do, it's game over. Even at night, if you mine into it at night, there maybe we'll have like a certain cutscene where Barney's like, "Oh God, I mined into that area there. Hopefully that's not going to screw us over in the morning," or something like that. And then the cutscene goes into Pulaski very intensely looking at this little minor scratch. It's this small. And it's like, something's off here. And he looks in, empties the sprinkle box out, and sees the civilization, and it's like, oh my God! Then they kill all the Barney sprinkles inside of there and refill it, and game over. You'd have to start from your last save point. So don't mine too far in until you know you have your escape plan set. Once you get to the escape plan portion, that cutscene will be disabled and you will be allowed to mine out. But if morning comes before you can escape, then the cutscene will show the giant-ass hole or the small hole, depending on how much you've dug into that area. And then you'll get replaced again and killed, and, that's not what you want. So now you just want to keep working towards getting your hands on what is essentially just a bunch of vehicles, which is going to be very important for the final escape sequence. So now that you've gotten your vehicles, your tools, and all your stuff set, now it's time to commence the final escape scene. And this escape scene is going to require you to bring the entire kingdom with you. And it's going to require you to dig a ginormous hole through the area. Meaning you definitely want to have like a boring system. A giant boring machine that will dig a hole this big while your Barneys are like this big and the vehicles are this big or something, somewhere around that. So you want that to do that and get that done with quickly. Once you get out, you initiate the final leaving sequence. All of the Barneys from the kingdom are brought on to the vehicular devices. And now you finally make your way out of the entirety of this hellscape known as the Sprinkle Box. But it doesn't end there just yet. No, it's just about to begin the chaos. Your entire team drives through the flooring area. You see these giant-ass counters. These giant counters. I think you can see the hand here at that point. Then you're just driving through it and you're trying to get to an area. You don't know where you're going, but you know you're going somewhere. Somewhere is better than that hellscape. At this point, you probably already discovered what happened at what happened with the middle. Okay, so this is what happens in the middle. The Barney doors open up, and these strange purple zombie-looking Barneys come out, and they look ravenous. Now, these Barneys affect the Barney walls, which means that they are slowly infecting the entirety of the box, one Barney at a time, until it gets to a point where the spread is so big that now they're infecting more than one, but like dozens or hundreds of Barneys, until eventually the box turns purple, and then the Pulaskis notice the Barneys went bad, and they're like, not again. Because to the Pulaskis, this is just like their day job, and they're very depressed and annoyed that They ran out of sprinkles, and or Pluskies. I said Pluskies, right? The Pluskies are depressed and annoyed that the sprinkles have gone bad, and now they gotta go on ahead, take all the sprinkles out, put it back in, or a new bag in, new batch in, and they have to deal with the other Pulaskis, the annoying Pulaski. You thought Karens were bad. Wait until you see a Pulaski Karen. That is like full on. Like, okay, what's the best way I can describe it? The Karen Pulaski will literally take an entire display shelf and toss it halfway across the store to try to prove a point of, I don't know, don't fuck with me or something. It'll yell incoherent sentences. You won't understand what's happening. It's even worse if they have a baby, because the baby will just not shut up. It will scream and cry. Its cries will be louder than the freaking TMX sound. It's terrible. Like, you're only scratching the surface of just how terrible the Pulaskis are. I'm just letting you know right here that this is it's like, it's bad. You trust me, you don't want Pulaskis to come into this universe, because you thought we were bad. Take the freaking the Karens and the Mitches, male bitches. Take all that stuff and amp that up to not 10, not 11, not 12, but 1,000. Yes, 1,000. It's that bad. It's terrible. It's the worst creation I've ever made that's plaguing my thoughts in many different instances. It's just, yeah. I don't know when I'm going to draw those, and when I do, you will share in my suffering. But yes, back to the corrupted Barneys. So these corrupted Barneys will slowly but surely take over the entire box and attempt to kill all of the other Barneys, including the wall Barneys. Doesn't matter. Their main objective is to infect everything and become the main Barney, so to speak. So when this happens, you have to deal with those zombie Barneys out there. You gotta worry about becoming infected or killed in a much quicker rate. When dealing with these things, they're a hell of a lot more tougher than the other Three Kingdoms Barneys, and they are very deadly. Just one of them is enough to kill you in an instant if you're not careful. Oh god, I pressed 9. Wait, what is 9? Yeah. That's... What, 9? 9? 9? Excuse me, but why is 9? Why is... Okay, I get it. 9 in Photoshop is page up. Why isn't... That's annoying. That's extremely annoying. I have the keybind set to page up and page down. Riddle me this. Why is that? Hold on. Is that? Oh, if that was the reason. Because I didn't press end. I didn't press end. But if 7 and 1 is home and end, then I need like a separate thing. Like what I need is like a little button case here, and I open the case and press the buttons and close the case so the cat can't press it. I'm glad I checked it. Part of me was like, there's no way that's gonna bring the page down. No, apparently when the numbslock thing is on, and it has to be on because I press 4, I bring that back. I press 6, I bring that back. I think that's the arrow keys, and it acts like that. But apparently 7 is page up and 3 is page down, which is essentially my freaking this face cam, and this. And let me just double check to make sure that I was yes, I was correct. God, I am glad I checked. I am very annoyed. That is probably why the stream ended, because I accidentally pressed either 7 or 1. Because 7 or 1 is either home or end. There's gotta be a way to disable that. Thankfully, though, we don't need to worry about that with Minecraft, but for Photoshop, where the numpad is the most used thing, I just gotta be mindful whenever I accidentally press something. 1 and 7 doesn't do much. Yeah, wait. End, home. And like I said before, end is... Okay. Okay, so I pressed 1. That's what happened. That's what happened. I pressed 1 and I ended the stream. Great, fantastic. Alright, video. Thanks, Numlock. You piece of shit. You really screwed me up there. You really screwed me up. Even the plus key, which was the pause key. No more. Not for this. Not unless I can get like a separate... Unless that doesn't exist, but I don't see why it wouldn't exist. And if it does exist, I don't see why it wouldn't work, right? It would have to work, right? I see no reason for it not to work. But anyways, yes. We have figured out why the video ended. We pressed number 1. Number 1 fucked me. He screwed me. He screwed me. He turned me around, bent me over, pulled my pants down, and screwed me. That's another Pulaski thing. If you haven't figured it out yet, I don't want her smiling for this one. I want her not like close mouth smiling. I want her to grit her teeth, her nice sharp little teeth, canine looking teeth. I don't know why I like this. We all have canines, but I still like to see even with the characters who don't have like any cat or dog features, I still like to draw them with like these sharp teeth because it looks cute. Now we just gotta get this right. So yes, we've just gone through the corrupted Barney scene, right? Back to where we last left off. So now our main objective is to get the hell out of Dodge before the corruption fully takes over. And once we were able to get a significant amount of space opened up, we open up the wall at nighttime, as soon as nighttime comes, and we bounce. We get the hell out. We take our vehicular devices, and we drive. We don't know where we're going. We just need to drive as fast as humanly possible. So, now in comes the others who somehow managed to get their own vehicular devices. The, the Barneys with the weed have like some, I don't know, weed mobile, like weed on wheels or something. We don't know how the hell that's working, but they're literally riding a Kush. This strange Kush-looking substance. This actually needs to be more slanted in this direction, not in the other direction. There. The Gore Barney is literally riding like a vehicle made of flesh and bones, manned by a bunch of, prisoners that they took in to essentially torture or hold for food. And okay, I think this actually should be separate? Question mark? Should it be separate? Wait, no. Hair should probably go out like she's turning her head or something. And the feral Barneys are kind of also riding a bunch of other feral Barneys as they pull like a cart or something. I don't know. The idea here is that all of the Barney Kingdom somehow managed to acquire vehicular devices and are now in hot pursuit of your Barney. And while the corruption slowly takes over, that's when they start to form the scene you see when you escape from the top. You only see the thing coming out of the box. You don't see it forming. mainly is because to like entice you to try to like figure out what that is, to try to solve the mystery, show you that you forgot a very important step, and where you are right now isn't going to get you to the good ending. So you are now being followed by the group, and the corruption is being built up to create that giant Barney that you saw in that one ending. And now here comes the finale. This is now a literal Mad Max and an ice cream parlor-esque scene that's literally the size of giants, because you're the size of literal sprinkles. And you're driving. You're driving out in the open. As all the other Barneys come in, they attack each other on their own vehicles. They destroy some of their vehicles, kill some of them. And then here comes that giant Barney, bigger than the box, bigger than what it was before. It wasn't even that big on the counter. Because I think at this point it was given more than enough time to like form, because it takes a while to get to this point. If, say, you were to exit before the corruption came, it would make sense that it wasn't that big. But there's a reason why it's this big, and you will see why soon enough. So the thing is running rampant. It destroys the countertop. It doesn't even try to go around. It just goes through it. And it's just making a beeline to your entire group. And don't forget, your group does have a better weaponry here. You can acquire guns if you get the certain middle tier going. And you can get ammunition as well. I don't know where the hell you'd get gunpowder from, but there is a way. There's a will, there's a way. Maybe there's like a stash of gunpowder down in some buried spots. Who knows? So you have the guns, and you are shooting all of the other Barneys off. I will have that be the blue part. And I don't think I need this now, because this is being covered. And now you have this giant, corrupted, purple-looking Barney, the Incredible Plum, coming after you with all of its rage and its, fury. The entire Barney Sprinkle box has been taken over. I think that's the case. It's been taken over because now you guys got vehicles and you are going further and further away, and it can't reach you in time. It will not be able to reach you in time. So it has to make drastic measures to be able to try to reach to you in time. So it takes the entirety of the box with it. Whoops. It is now at this point where the security Pulaski comes out, running rampantly over to, like, rampantly out to look at and see what the hell's going on. He stops and he looks at the Barney amalgamation, and he's like, oh my god. He tries to, like, fight back the Barney, but the Barney manages to overpower the Pulaski, and the Pulaski gets myrtleized. Which is for the best, in all honesty. And now initiating the final boss. There's only like a few boss fights if you want to go down the kingdom conquering route, which is harder to do than just escaping. And even if you do conquer the kingdom, you still have to deal with the corruption anyway, so it's not like you really have that much of an option. You still have the corruption to deal with. Can you conquer all 3 kingdoms before the corruption shows up? And for that matter, when does the corruption have to show up? At what time? How many days? I would like to think at least 300 in-game days or something, I don't know. You're set up on a timer, and there is somewhat of a game over where you have to like restart from the beginning unless you have like multiple save states to go back to. But yes, you could go down a kingdom conquering route, and I guess we could talk about that a little bit. We still got enough time here, you know. Why not? I gotta try to like get the outlining done with. I do hope it doesn't take too long. Anyways, we are now in the midst of the corrupted Barney looking down at us. And now we have to shoot at it with our guns. And it does take a decent amount of bullets to try to kill it. Once you kill it, however, you have completed the game. Your team now has to drive as quickly as they can over to the giant door that the security car comes in. You get over to where the door is, and you see this small crack inside of the opening. And what this crack is, it leads to this giant area that's kind of just how you say, for the size of a sprinkled Barney, it looks like a ravine. Yes, that's the best way I can describe this. It looks like a ravine. There's somehow water pouring out of certain areas. There's also a lake as well. And there's enough dirt, and if you were smart enough and bring all of the materials with you, you get enough materials to, start the farm in the ending cutscene. And even if you don't, you do have some form of basic food items to take place the current crop system that's, there. Once you do that, and the remaining kingdom you have with you, gets this whole, therefore ends the game. Well, not ends the game, there's still more cutscenes after that. But now you get to the epilogue scene. The main Barney does his dialogue, talking about everything. That he talks about how he discovers how the Pulaskis have been using them as sprinkles. He's sad seeing all of his Barney brethrens being murderized by the Pulaskis, consumed and eaten by giant, gluttonous, fat, disgusting creatures. I mean, I say they're disgusting, but they look like what you would think a cartoon character would look like. They are disgusting, but, drawing-wise, are probably not going to look like, most up-close SpongeBob characters' faces, which is not pleasant. However, there is some important tidbits to be learned from this particular scene, which is a major spoiler for something particular, but I can at the very least leave it vague as possible. Pulaskis open up the door as the door rings, and there's this shadowy figure. This shadowy human-like figure. It's not Pulaski. Carrying this giant box. And Pulaski walks up and he's like, "Oh, hey, there's our shipment of Barney sprinkles. Nice. Yeah, great. We can now eat more Barney or something." And he makes some terrible joke. The shadowy figure doesn't say anything. He just walks away, and Pulaski's like, "Great. You have a good day, too." Close the door. Humans, am I right? Because the Pulaskis are not humans, even though their design is based off one in particular that, funny enough, there's a whole backstory to the Pulaskis, but I'm not really gonna get into it right now. But yes, the Pulaski then opens up the box and puts in all the Barney sprinkles, and a whole new process is started. A new set of Barneys is now being put through the ringers. Question is, will the same thing happen again as it happened in the that particular instance? Who knows? I mean, it would make sense that the Pulaskis would try to clean it out since one of their own died to the corrupted Barneys, but who knows? They don't care if one of their own dies. They just care that they're still kept in business. Employee health be damned. Oh, there goes the cat. So, there ends that. You get a good glimpse of what's happened throughout the entirety of the game. You were being used as sprinkles. You're not entirely too sure why you were being consumed by Pulaskis or why the Pulaskis were eating Barneys. All you know is that your entire kingdom is safe and is now in a better place. which is not a euphemism. They are in a better place. They don't have to worry about being killed by Barneys covered in blood and guts of other Barneys, or Barneys trying to drown you in shit and piss. No, these Barneys are in a hell of a lot better place than they were before. So, yes, there ends the good ending. There is also the kings of these kingdoms, and like the ability to take over the kingdoms, as well as the ability to play as like all the other kingdoms if you so wanted to. I'd say normal mode would be the normal Barneys. Psycho mode or insane mode would be the blood and gore Barney, which it would be insane mode. Like feral mode, which, well, I'm not entirely too sure how those modes would work. I only really thought about the one instance with the normal Barneys, obviously, because they're like the main group. They're normal. They're the only ones here that looks like they have an actual personality and stuff like that. Although it would make sense that you would be able to, like, become an insane Barney and focus 100% entirely on just killing a bunch of other Barneys. If your main objective is to escape with normal guys, your main objective with the gore Barneys would be to murder all the kingdoms, and have it be totally filled with blood. The corruption would still be an issue, obviously, but I don't know how that ending would be. I think it would more so just be like, there's no ending. It's just see if you can kill all the Barneys and see how long you can last before the corruption wipes your entire kingdom out. I think that would be the main mode for those two particular groups. Oh god. Still recording. But yes, that would most likely be the main selling point for those particular modes. Your entire kingdom being, expanding by killing all the other kings and kingdoms and stuff like that. I'm not entirely too sure how the weed Barneys would play out, in all honesty. The thing with the weed Barneys is, they are immune to their own, substance because they've been born in it, molded by it, raised by it. But at the same time, they're not exactly, that interesting as a group to play as. The blood Barneys. The gore Barneys. I think I'd rather just call them blood Barneys. The blood Barneys make sense because your main objective is to murder everything and everyone, as well as take over the kingdom. And the feral Barneys make even more sense. Hey, what are you doing, cat? The feral Barneys make even more sense because you are trying to acquire territory. Right, that's better. You're trying to get territory, right? And you're trying to make sure that other feral Barneys can't get your territory. You're also trying to kill a bunch of other Barneys near your territory. And it's more so just a territory game, like base building. Like the base building portion of the normal Barneys. With the feral Barneys, it's more like your main objective is base defense. Stop playing with that, cat. Man. Don't you purr at me. But yes, the feral Barneys are base defense. I'm not sure what the weed Barneys could be. They're not entirely too combat heavy. I think most of their entire, is that where I want that to be? No, this we don't need this. And this looks like it could be here. I think what the weed Barneys could be is, your objective is to try to spread the kush. So, if the main premise of the normal Barneys is to escape the box, the main premise of the Gore Barneys is to conquer all the kingdoms. The main premise of the Feral Barneys is to defend your territory. Then the main premise of the cat's going berserk on sheets. The main premise of the Weed Barneys is to spread the weed all over the box. Virus mode, so to speak. Except you're immune. And the only way for you to win is to infect all the Barneys with weed. And once you've done that, and once the box has been filled with this green gaseous cloud, which is just weed clouds, everybody is high, nobody's able to fight. And then here comes the corruption getting ready to just pick everybody off one by one because they're not affected by weed for some reason. They're like zombies. Matter of fact, do weed affect zombies? I don't think weed would affect zombies. That's interesting to think, in all honesty. Does weed affect zombies' brains? Well, does it? Do zombies get high? Who knows? There are certain properties of weed that we can probably utilize to get an answer for that question. Certain properties of certain zombies, maybe zombies don't have the intelligence or something to be affected by weed. Maybe the zombies don't have the same brain process. Who knows? I mean, zombies themselves are like a difficult concept to try to bring into a scientific standpoint. Like, how is this walking corpse moving? What science has to happen to allow for this to happen? And if we do figure that out, what science do we have to, go through to figure out if a zombie can be affected by the effects of weed? That's the real question here. And I bet you I wasn't the first one to come up with a question like that. Alright, are you a good size? I don't know if you're a good size or not. Your hat might be a bit too thick or big. No, wait, no. I think this is fine. I think this part probably just has to be reduced in size just a small bit. Oh no, looking at your hat here, it is kind of thick. So I'll try to get this lined up so that I can do this. Bring this inwards. Yeah, that would probably be like a good way to implement the Weed Barney's mechanics. Ride the Kush, or protect your territory, or kill all the Barneys, or escape. Escape is the only mode that leads to an ending. The other three modes is complete your objective and then just die off. That's pretty much all there is to it. And normal mode, escape mode, has heavy focus on RNG, while feral mode is more about collecting materials for building a house and building these defenses, as well as beating the crap out of those who are trying to invade your house. And blood mode or insane mode is focus on killing and getting experience instead of just tools. And then there's spread the weed. A lot of people might like that mode. Part of me wonders if I should have those modes be locked behind, the completion of escape mode of any ending. You don't have to get the full ending. You just have to get an ending. Whether it be the corruption takes over the entire box, or you escape through the top, or you escape through the bottom. Maybe have certain requirements actually in escape mode that you would have to complete in order to unlock some of those modes, maybe. endless possibilities. It's not like we're going to actually make this game. This game can be found in the Weird Factory, though. If we can gain access to the Weird Factory. Realm of the Cats, if you can hear me, give us access to the Weird Factory. There's so many weird games that I've thought up of that I want to play, but I can't play because I can't make it. I mean, I could make it, but I need a team that would be willing to make it for free because we can't make money off of somebody else's creations. Well, tell that to the people on Patreon because apparently you can make money off of other people's creations, which is, I don't know, I always found strange. That's why I'm currently sticking with my own characters for Patreon for now. I mean, if I do decide to go for fan art characters, at the very least I'll have a ginormous supply of my own OCs to work with before I go and start drawing other characters. Which is good. It's good to want to be, prepared for something like that. But, yes. I would like to play this game. But we don't have access to the ability to play it yet. To gain access, we need the Weird Factory to be open. And for the Weird Factory to be open, we need to get the ROTC cats to open up a portal and connect our worlds via that portal. Maybe we just haven't found the portal yet. Maybe we just can't seem to figure out how to actually gain access to it. I do hope we can figure it out at some point because, it would be nice to play these weird games that I have come up with in my head. It would be nice because just to prove that theory of mine that whatever we create becomes real in another universe. It would be great, wouldn't it? Maybe I could see my own creations. Maybe even converse with them. If you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Wink at a wink. What are you looking at, cat? Trying to figure out how I'm going to draw her back here. I'm trying to draw it as if it's like, the front, which is not what we want. We want to draw it like her back is actually there. Kind of curved. Bring this down a bit. Yes. I also feel like this might not be where it needs to be. I might have to make this like somewhat smaller. And what about your body size? Could just be the head side. Might be like too big, but I haven't really figured that part out yet. Let's see, smaller, just a bit, not too big, not too much, just enough to make it look a little bit more natural. Around here, and around here. Like so? Question mark? Maybe just a little bit bigger? Especially if some of them are being hidden here, it could work. Some of their bottom parts are going to be hidden, so it's good to want to try to diversify the workload here. Alright, I'm going to consume my beverage. What's up, cat? What you want? What you looking at? Alright, wanna go up to the camera? Camera? No? Okay, fine. Alright, there's Ariella. Done with that within 43 minutes. I am indeed, in fact, forgetting her cape, so that's why something seems off. She has a cape on, and, well, I guess that means that this part over here is going to be hidden. So in the end, it didn't even matter. Frickin' A. In the end, it didn't even matter. And now I'm gonna combine this over here. I think we have, however, come to the conclusion of our little Barney box story. You've seen a large, or heard of a large majority of what it all consists of. Will I, actually get to the point where I create it? I don't know. Alright, there we go. But it would be nice to have some form of it. I mean, if I were to create something with my free time, first off and foremost, it definitely would not be in that particular department. It would definitely be something more, how you say, me? Probably the Realm of the Cats game that I had in mind that I have told you all before about. Whoops. But there's also Space Blasters, which I have not been able to work on for a while now. I've been very busy this month. Got a lot of stuff to do. Borb. So, yes. What else do we really have to, talk about now? We've reached the end of that story, but is there another one? Oh, I remember. All right, perfect. Okay, we can go on to this story next. Similar concept to an extent, except not at all. So, it involves Barney again. Yes, for some reason. And it doesn't involve a plus kid this time, but rather a big Barney. A tall as hell Barney. And you play as a Barney who's basically the size of a mouse. Almost. And the scene starts with you, your Barney player, waking up in the hands of a giant Barney. Says some, baby talk about, you want some milk or something? The only thing that moves is milk. There was something else about it that I forgot, all the conversations, but I do remember this one funny, scenario. If you, don't try to attempt to escape from the Barney's grasp, it'll, give you, the option to, try to converse with the Barney. It's not a telltale. It's far from that. But there is a part to it that feels like it almost. So, if you don't, you get out of the Barney's grasp and you decide to go along with it, and there's a certain, what was it again? There's a certain dialogue you can pick. Oh, wait, yeah, I think it goes, the Barney goes, "You what, mate?" And that other Barney was, holding that Barney like this, listen here, you little shit. Insight, is that the word? Cites. He cites the entirety of the Navy SEAL copy pasta, while your Barney is slowly being, bombarded by, an invisible attack. Constantly, moving his arm back and forth in between, each scene it shows as the Barney, getting attacked. And it keeps going until it gets to the end of the speech where your Barney explodes and it's game over. That's assuming you want to go down this particular path. But there's another path you can go down where you escape from the Barney's grasp, struggle it. Barney just stands there, looks at you depressed and disappointed. And then he tries to run towards you at breakneck speed almost. But before that happens, you have enough time to escape and get inside of a mouse hole. You go inside this mouse hole that has a door in it, you close the door behind you, and then that Barney runs by, passes by, and doesn't even realize. God damn it. Freaking, I don't know why the hell it does that. I pressed P to go to the freaking, whatever. So then you go into the mouse hole, the door closes, the door on the outside looks like a wall, so it's very blended in. And that giant Barney runs by, and now you're in this mouse hole that you decide to lock up. You lock the doors up. And this area looks outfitted. It has this nice living room. It's got this bathroom, this kitchen, bedroom as well. He's got like a security room as well. That has these hidden cameras throughout the house. And you have a window, a one-way window. So don't worry, the Barney outside won't be able to like see the real cat. The Barney will not be able to see you inside of this here mouse hole apartment. And then you look out the window and who do we see right here? Believe it or not, folks, it's Jerry the Mouse. That's right, everybody. That's right, here he comes. He tries to open the door, but he sees it's locked. And he immediately goes up to the glass. He makes that face, that mean face he makes where he's like, get this or something. He looks at the glass, does this with his face, and then just slams onto the glass like 20 slams a second, or 20 slams a second. And then the big Barney shows up and picks up Jerry and brings him up. And Barney backs away a bit, kind of, the small Barney backs away a bit, kind of freaking out here. And then Jerry plops down on the floor, his neck twisted. That's right, Jerry's dead, folks. I'm sorry he couldn't use his abilities to escape this Barney for some reason. And a sting sound happens as Barney backs up in horror a bit, and then the big Barney comes down. You can see his giant eye looking at the window. Barney falls down, backs up, does this as the Barney looks at the wall, because right now he's looking at a wall. It's a one-way glass, and he scratches it to see, obviously Jerry punched it. He's trying to make sure that there's no damage there. And then he goes about his day. That Barney is, however, kind of upset that he lost his Barney, but, he goes about his day. There's not much he can do. He'll find that Barney eventually, but for now, there's no way for him to escape. And now you're inside Jerry's apartment. He's dead now. But you can live on and continue his apartment's legacy and stuff like that. So, congratulations. You've killed Jerry the Mouse, and you start your new journey as, yet again, another small Barney Rolls. So, let's see here. You open up the fridge, and what you see is, meat and cheese and some milk and stuff like that. So, this is how the game goes. Your objective as Barney is to scour the house. Scrounge up around the house. Scavenge. I know there's a word that's scrounge, but I can't really remember what it is. So your objective as Barney is to go around the house and scavenge some more supplies. You got these little mini plastic containers that you can, collect certain food supplies from. Right now you got some meat and cheese to start and survive for a few days, but you are going to have to go out there and learn how to sneak around the apartment. Whether or not you want to do it at nighttime or during the daytime, that's up to you to decide. But your objective is to attempt to survive for as long as you can. But there are some very funny things that you can do in this, and we'll get to that in a minute. So you got your cooking system here. You can use the stove. It uses electricity from the the apartment, and because the electricity is quite small appliances, not a lot of electricity is needed to heat these things up. It's that Barney doesn't notice anything different with the electric bill. The electric bill is just the same, only maybe a cent or two because of, these little lights and stuff. I think that's how it works. The smaller these particular appliances are, the less Yeah, you know, money it costs to run, right? Is that how that works? Okay, I'm not sure how I'm going to pull off this slick back look here. I guess we could do something like this. And have the slick back should be shown in the back. I've never drawn again through them from this particular like perspective. It's always been from like the side or from the front or the front side or something like that. Never from this particular perspective. Where he's supposed to be facing like back but side back, if you know what I mean. You know, it's funny. Almost all of the characters' ears are hidden by their long-ass hair. Like, the entirety of this cast has... I think Gwyneth's the only one with relatively short hair. Ganther in his long hair, Ariella in her long hair, Gwyneth in her close to her chin hair, like around here, like this point right here. But, okay, yeah, back to what we were talking about before. Which, we're so quick, 2 hours in. This outlining process is taking ages. Whew. I knew this was going to take a while, but damn, I didn't really think it was going to take this long. I'm glad I'm delving into these stories, because otherwise I would have no idea what the hell to talk about. So the day goes by at like a very quick rate. Your main objective is to get enough food. You gotta eat enough to get 3 meals in. And the entirety of your meals are mostly going to consist of meat and cheese in the beginning. You do want to get grains, i.e. bread. You also want to get milk. You also want to get fruits and vegetables. And there's also a certain tool that you want to try to utilize as much as possible to essentially get these in like ball formations. So let's see. We've explained how the cooking system works. You go in, you use the oven, you cook it, and you got yourself fully cooked food, which then gives you a significant amount of statistics that will last throughout the entirety of that morning or afternoon, depending on when you consumed it, the food. So now that we have that, now we gotta go out and explore. So this big Barney has a routine, and he never really leaves the house. He's a work-at-home Barney. So you have to go out into the living room in order to acquire these supplies. It's preferable to do it at night because of obvious reasons. But you can do it at any time. You just have to figure out what time this Barney does some of his activities and what room he goes into. Make sure you're not in the room. If he does go in the room you're in, you gotta make sure that you hide. If you don't hide, you're as good as dead. It's going to be difficult to try to avoid him. For some reason, he gave you more than enough time to run, but I think at that point he knew, like, there's no way he's getting away from me. I'm faster than him. Because if he sees you, he, like, hears you and hears him, he's going to be like this and grab you. It's going to be instant. You're barely going to have any time. He's going to be like, you're going to hear a kind of a sound cue, like, and then just a ginormous Barney sprinting at you. Not like this, like arms to the side, like power walking, kind of sprinting, that kind of deal. Alright, you also have a cape that I should also put here. Oh yeah, that's the thing. I never drew the back of your cape, I only drew the inside. Actually, yes, this is perfect to do. From the looks of it, you have orange stripes to the right and the left. Alright, great. Fantastic. We don't really have to do a whole lot here. Just this. Part of me wonders if I okay, hold on. I do have to make you smaller and bring you in more, because you are going to be on top of a rock and further inwards. So, here's your cape. So, yes, if the Barney sees you, you're as good as dead unless you're able to hide from him. If you can find a good hiding spot and he can't find you, you'll be fine. But he'll be on an alert status until a certain amount of time passes. He won't know where you are. But there is one important tidbit that you have to take into consideration with this Barney. Do not go inside the hole and lock the door. Because what he will do is he will get a gas spray and a gas mask, and he will spray the hole that you're in. He will bash a hole where you first came in. He'll mark it first, and he'll block it off and grab his spray and get ready to spray you with poisonous gas, which will effectively kill Barney, and it'll be game over. Like staring at me now? What you looking at? Okay, Gunther might not be that difficult, as most of his body is being hidden by his cape, so that's good. And I can draw this in this particular direction. Although this might be difficult for me to, Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't you hate it when, hold on. Oh, that didn't work. Don't you hate when you could only, take a deep breath if you yawn? I don't know what that is. It's not like I don't think I need to do it. It's like, my brain is instinctively, Christ, telling me, you have to yawn, you need to yawn. This is something that must be done. Yawn. Yawn now. Damn it. Yawn now. It's annoying as fuck. Yawn. Why aren't you yawning? Come on, lungs, and take the breath. I command you to yawn, you fucking useless imbecile. I know, annoying. I don't know why it's like that. Sometimes I yawn just fine, other times I struggle, and I don't know why. Whoops, I did not mean to delete all of that. I didn't mean to delete that, though. Frick's sakes. But, yes. Don't let that Barney see you or he will smoke you out. And your main objective is to scavenge around the kitchen to collect food. You also do kind of want to collect supplies and stuff around all the other area. You know, like paper, cloth, rip up the couch, rip up books and paper. If you think about the survival elements of this compared to the Barney box game, this game consists mostly, entirely, specifically off of stealth, and only stealth. You will not be able to fight this Barney. This Barney is too big, and when he sees you and he grabs you, he's going to snap your neck because he's lost his patience and the moment has passed, and his Barney baby boy is no longer a concern anymore. And, yes, he snaps your neck like Jerry and then goes on about his day. You know, does his thing. So you do want to try to avoid that Barney as best as you can while you go on ahead and collect a bunch of supplies. And most of the supplies you collect for like paper and cloth and stuff is mainly just to like upgrade the house or get like furnishing and stuff. Well, furnishing. Other than that, it's just like, you know, little bits and pieces. You do want to try to find a way to escape this house. But trying to escape it will be rather difficult. I don't exactly know the escape scene for this because I never really got that far in thinking about it. I only thought about the survival instance as well as a few certain funny moments, which I think we could talk about now. So, if you go late at night, that Barney is sleeping, right? So, if you go on ahead and go into the kitchen fridge and knock over a container of milk so it's all over the floor, and if you're able to rush back over into your hole before that Barney wakes up, runs over to see what happens, and you go to the window, you get to see, or the security camera would be better, you get to see a pretty funny show. That Barney runs on in, rushes into the kitchen, and then slips over all the milk. Just like squeaking noise as he falls over, bangs his head into the table, goes, and he just lies on the floor crying for a bit. And you ought to be laughing because he is trying to kill you after all. You assume he's abducted you and was trying to force you into being its baby. So you gotta laugh, because if you don't, you got Stockholm syndrome. Sorry, but you shouldn't be feeling sorry for this Barney who snapped Jerry's neck for one. Don't forget about that tidbit. And he was trying to snap your neck as well. So you ought to be laughing at. And he's crying, and then eventually gets up and cleans the milk up. And there's another funny instance. You can get enough wiring and stuff, and if you're able to get over to the cameras there, you can install a speaker system to essentially lure that Barney over into a certain room. And there's certain funny things you can say into the microphone that will invoke wrath and anger towards the Barney that's listening to it. He won't know where the hell the noise is happening. He's going to be very angry, searching around the house, tearing everything apart, because he knows that the only Barney voice there is your voice. Because assume that this Barney is not we can assume these aren't duplicates because of one Barney is small, the other Barney is ginormous. And it's more of a case of, giant Barney decided to kidnap smaller Barney from, another universe. It could be duplicates, but who knows. You set up the speaker system. It's funnier when you yell and okay, there's a certain thing you can do where you into the megaphone, and if you're looking at the cameras, you see the big Barney spaz out of bed, legs, arms kicking out back and forth like a freaking like you would see in a dust cloud, except you actually see the act of him kicking the blanket and sheet out. Falls down on the ground, looks up, gets up quickly, and starts tearing down his room, trying to figure out where the noise happens. And everything is just going to shit here, as this tiny Barney is terrorizing this giant Barney. And at some point, there is a way where you can effectively kill the giant Barney, but you have to go through a whole bunch of Rube Goldberg shit. You definitely got to build some pretty complex machinery in order to be able to, at the very least, make half of the stuff necessary to kill this Barney. If you, at the very least, can manage to acquire all the material, I guess that would make sense why you want to acquire more materials. Because there has to be a main goal, and the main goal is to kill the Barney who you are trapped in the house with. Because if you can manage to kill the Barney, you might be able to manage to escape the house, and somehow manage to get back to your, your main home area. This Barney probably doesn't even realize that he's in a different universe right now. So that leads us into, I guess, one of the major objectives, actually. Aside from just killing the Barney that's kidnapped you in this house, you also need to invest in some pretty complex machinery and knowledge. And like once you start to build a bunch of stuff, Barney starts to get a better understanding of how to build stuff. And then eventually he will then go on ahead and build what is essentially the universe portal, something around that point. Because when you walk out of the area, you're just surrounded by a bunch of giant houses, and this is where things get interesting. It's essentially a modern day Flintstone world, except everybody lives alone. So on the other side, you see Fred over there with mini Fred Flintstone, who is, like how Barney was holding you, he's holding that Fred like a baby. That Fred played along and is now full on a part of, that nightmare. I need a reference for your sword, right? No worries, I can get that in a moment's notice. Let me just finish this first before I get his sword reference. And Barney sees all the other stuff. Door's open. Fred doesn't even notice it, thankfully. You go back inside before he notices that the door's open and that you are out walking around. Although he would probably not really notice much. It seems like everybody here is antisocial because the only one that you've been dealing with was a giant... Oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. You can't even see that. The only thing you've been dealing with was a giant Barney. So you're not exactly in any concern for your safety when it comes to... Wait, this should probably be actually a bit more bigger up here. When it comes to other people coming by. So at this point now, you've successfully managed to kill Barney, right? But now there's no threat. So, it's just weird. Because now your main objective is to get out of this universe that you're in, which requires you to acquire parts and stuff to do certain things. So where's the threat now, huh? Barney is dead. Went through a Rube Goldberg machine that you, Mini Barney, has created. But now you don't have a threat. So, you know what? We're going to make a threat right now. So what if... Now, hear me out. What if that Barney awakes from the dead, right? So you're inside of your home area at the, let's say, research table, that the thing that we neglected to say or talk about because we didn't come up with it before. The research table that's necessary for making new parts or like figuring out new things. You figure out what you need in order to create the portal to get you out of this particular universe. And once you figure out how to do that, your next objective then is to build the device. But while you're in there researching it, a little cutscene plays with that Barney that you killed, waking up with red glowing eyes and light purple pale skin. He's now become a zombie. That's right, folks. He's become a zombie. Okay, I need to get another reference for this guy anyways because I don't have his leg here. This actually might be good to get another reference for his leg here anyways. So, Talent of Creation. I think that's the only one where I've shown his leg. Or at least some of it. Okay, from the looks of it, seems simple enough. Alright, easy enough. So, yes, now you have what is essentially a much more deadly and dangerous giant Barney walking around. Now, of course, this only happened once you go inside of your house and, get the research stuff. So before you do that, it's within your best interest, before you kill the Barney, to get a bunch of Tupperware and acquire all the food that he has left within his fridge. Because once that happens, going out to get food is going to be even more deadlier and dangerous. Trust me on that front. Maybe I should make this more downwards and have this more like right around here. So now your main objective within this category is to attempt to learn the new Barney mechanics. The tricks that you've done before isn't going to work. This Barney is going to silently shamble around everywhere. It's not going to burst in and look at everything. You can't use the milk strategy here. It's going to look at it and he's going to leave it there, and that's bad. Right? Barney before cleaned it up because of, logic and reasoning. This Barney doesn't have logic and reasoning. And the reason why this is bad is because if he doesn't clean that up, he's going to get ants. And then he'll have to deal with a bunch of insects trying to kill Barney on top of the other Barney who is now just a walking corpse. Alright, that seems like a better size. So with that in mind, you definitely want to play about this in a more serious manner. Don't try to do the same tricks you've done with the other Barney. If you try to distract the Barney on the megaphone, he's going to immediately find where the source came from, look at the camera, and then destroy it. You'll lose your cameras. You'll start losing cameras. Am I doing this right? No, I'm not. I'm trying to get like a certain, how do I want to explain this? Like the bottom of the shoes. Easier said than done, broski. Easier said than done. So if you start losing your cameras, you will start losing your sight and being able to see the zombie Barney walking around. When that starts to happen, you start to initiate an even more harder mode, where you are unable to find that Barney's location, and you have a greater risk of getting caught out and killed. And this is even worse before. The other Barney you hear running up to you and going up to you. That's scary in and of itself. This Barney, it's like a jump scare. It's like, here you are, here's this Barney, walks in, 1 second of seeing you, grabs you, and just looks at you and just crushes you. Instead of snapping your neck, it crushes you and then consumes you. And you die. And you don't want that to happen. And, it's pretty terrifying. It's like a minor jump scare. It's not good for the heart, so it's good to not get into that situation. It does make it difficult though, because as soon as that Barney sees you, instant game over. You don't even get a chance to run away. He just instantly picks you up. You have to use your intelligence and your ability to essentially try to figure out where this Barney goes. The routines essentially stay the same. Only difference being that some of the routines are cut short, as most of the time to get to those routines is replaced with shambling. And it's quiet shambling too. You don't hear anything. So in one moment is silent, the next, bam, you're dead. You've been crushed and eaten. So it is rather important to try to utilize visual cues. This Barney only uses sight to see you. Doesn't really use if you see it, it sees you mentality. This is pretty useful though to have, and if you know where all the certain movement spots that Barney is in, you will have no issue trying to deal with that Barney and all of his nonsense. It is easier said than done, though, because you are rather slow, and the best way for you to be able to avoid that particular Barney is to hide if it goes into the room that you're in. And make sure you're in a really good hiding spot. One where it doesn't have any glimpse of you at all, not even through a crack. And another thing to take into consideration with the zombie Barney is the fact that he doesn't sleep. He adopts a whole new routine at night where he would be asleep, and now you have to worry about that. Of course, you should hopefully have like a steady supply of food and stuff on hand, right? If you are actually playing properly. But, that's all assuming that you are, focusing on... I feel like the only way for you to be able to actually do well in this particular game is if you were to essentially play it a second time and get a better understanding of how it works. Because once you understand how everything works, you'll have no issue trying to fight against the zombie Barney. The regular Barney is easy enough to beat. It's easy enough to, at the very least, trick. It's easy enough to learn his... Oh god, why did I make this guy's sword so complex? It's easy enough to learn his routine. The only thing that gets very difficult is the zombie Barney, as you go out to try to locate certain materials that you can only get now that that Barney is dead. And, dead as in a corpse. So, once you've managed to collect all of the materials, all the stuff, you are now able to build the portal device, which will allow you to get out of that universe for good, and will bring you right into your original universe when you were taken out of. And from that point, game over, you win. You managed to escape the zombie Barney, which is now aimlessly wandering around his apartment complex. You are not entirely too sure what had happened or why any of this have happened, but you try to go about your day. That Barney still has nightmares of giant Barneys kidnapping him in his sleep and bringing him back. He did, however, wake up from a slumber and in the arms of that one Barney. But, the ending, it doesn't end there just yet. There's an epilogue. Barney gets back to his universe, and what does he see? A ghost town, Bedrock. Literally nobody there. The entirety of Bedrock is gone. And the only thing that Barney can really think of is the fact that everybody was abducted, same as him, and the Fred that he saw with the mini Fred was actually his Fred. Now, well, Barney's all alone. Barney can't very well go back to that place, the area with the giants again, because obviously that's not going to really work out in his favor. And he very clearly isn't going to be able to survive on his own without a steady supply of some food source being automatically made. So it's a rather bittersweet ending. Barney managed to escape a very terrifying situation, but only to come back to see that all of his friends and families and acquaintances are all gone, and in the same place that you were in, just in different houses. What do you do from there? What do you do from there? Well, I'll tell you what you do from there. The game ends. You do nothing. That's the neat part. You don't do anything. The game ends, and you're left with Barney on his knees, looking down at the ground, depressed, as he just doesn't know what to do. I mean, you do have portal technology, though. So if I was in his position, I would try to figure out if I can find another place to live, another universe to live. I'd be pretty upset that everybody I know and love is gone, but at the same time, I mean, they'd be living a good life. I was the only one that was suffering because of all of the, the running away, the hiding, and dealing with this giant Barney who now at this point just wants to kill me because I wasn't complying to his fantasies. And, yeah. Yeah, that marks the end of that story. We still have to finish outlining Domodora, let alone Genthru. Do I even have any more stories to tell? Any more weird stories? I'm not sure. I do have more, but I'm not sure where to I have to dig deep into my memories to try to remember them. And I also kind of don't want to say them all immediately. And I want to save this one particular one, duplicates, for a certain thing at some point, if you know what I mean. There is Neutron Adventure, but actually, hold on. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is still open. Let me see if I have this here. Yeah, game ideas. Here we go. Neutron Adventure Planets. You can't see this, but I'm looking at all the planets here and the levels and all that stuff. So, before I go further into this, I want to talk about this one. Okay, so I'm going to say this one level, like a few levels here now. And a certain, planet, and I'm just going to say the name. So, one of the name is, Sludge Tunnels. Then, there's another one called Squiggly Run. And, Money Shot Mountain. Forced Swallows. Bouncy Balls. Shaft Slides. There's another one in bonus area. Little Richard Parkour, Diamond Hard, Rolling Balls of Fury, Ball Avalanche, Harry Horrors, and yes, that's some of the levels in a certain planet that I will talk about soon. So, Neutron Adventure. Before I go and talk about the planets, let's talk about how this adventure starts. So you know how Planet Sheen starts, Planet Sheen and all that weirdness. That started with Sheen grabbing Jimmy's rocket and taking off. Well, this story starts in a similar fashion, but with Hugh Neutron. So Hugh Neutron sees Jimmy's rocket and he's like, my boy is so smart, or something like that. And he looks down at this book that he has. That's all right, now let's see what this here story is all about. It's just something about a milk and pie planet. It's ooh. And he just opens up the book oh. No! Just looks at it. All the milk and pie I could ever ask for. And, yes. He looks back at Jimmy's rocket and he's like, what if I can use Jimbo's rocket to get to the milk and pie planet? And he just climbs up the ladder of the rocket. He looks around. You know that drawing I did of Hugh Neutron, and the rocket? It's one of the very first drawings I did long ago. Matter of fact, now that I know that this thing actually, kind of just focuses properly, I thought I was gonna look terrible on the thing, but I could just look up Neutron. Whoops. Neutron viewed -0-0. Okay, here we go. This drawing right here. This drawing right here. Focus. Focus. And there you go. That one. That's the ship he's in. It's not like the whatever rocket ship that Sean took, so whatever the frick that kid's name was. But it's more like, think of it like Rick's ship, but more like Jimmy Neutron-esque. Wait a minute. This isn't right. God dang it! Dang it, Randy! Alright, it's fine. I can just delete this portion. And since this is connected, I can just do this. And bring this... oh god, no. Not that. Don't click that. Ah, for frick's sakes. It's fine, it's fine. I can fix this. I think, actually, is this close to the edge? Down by the corner? No, it's not. But it's fine. Like I said, I can fix this. All I gotta do is make this less thick. So he gets into Jimmy's rocket. Jimmy walks out and says, "Not again!" And there goes Hugh Neutron in Jimmy's rocket on an adventure. So he goes flying out all over the place and gets a hang of how the rocket handles. And now he's in. It was like a little panicky at first. As he now floats normally. There is apparently an infinite milk and pie generating supply on the ship, so Neutron never goes hungry at least. So at the very least, he has the food, and there he is looking at his the console command. Is like, all right, I think I'm getting the hang of this now. Let's see, what does this button do? Ding! The pie synthesized out of thin air. My son made an infinite pie-making machine? What will he think of next? Dink! Glass comes up, milk pours out, and milk. Neutron, you lucky dog. I got all the food I need to survive up here on my journeys to find the milk and pie planet. Now, of course, it's infinite to us because this is a game, but, I have to imagine that there is some form of limit. But, yes. Now that he's done that, he looks through and he opens up a map. All right. First things first, we need to planet hop and see if we can get directions to his milk and pie planet. Neutron, you got one heck of an adventure ahead of you. Hence the Neutron Adventure, the name of the game. And now here goes Hugh Neutron flying through the stars. There's a certain theme song I had in mind, but I don't quite recall how it went. Alright, you are too thick as well. I need to make you less thick. Or you're not thick enough. Actually, yeah, you're not thick enough. You're lengthy in size, but you ain't thick. I'd prefer you to be thicker. So yes, there we go. Now Hugh Neutron is going off to the first planet. And the first planet he goes to is called Medieval Planet. Essentially what this is it's an area where you start to learn the, You know that level in Little Big Planet 2 with Da Vinci? That's basically what the music here is going to be for some reason. Because why not? We're using Hugh Neutron as the main character, so... Oh wait, I see what's wrong. I forgot about that tidbit. Ah, crap. Well, you know what? That's fine. I just need to move you up, and I need to grab all of you. Move you further up. I need to grab all of you and pull you out. There. Not too thick, though. Ah, fuck. Alright. Yes. We are on the Medieval Planet. The first level you go to is called Learning the Basics. Then you start to the next level, dealing with threats, platforming tests, hide and fear. I think this one was introducing a stealth mechanic to add more than just, parkour and stuff like that. The next one after that is Timing is Key, which I think had a lot to do with time, you know, running through the level time as fast as possible, something along the lines of that, probably. After that, we have Where Are Them Secrets? There are going to be a bunch of secret walls and stuff that you need to try to locate within the levels in order to like get, you know, upgrades and stuff. Not upgrades. More like cosmetics and collectibles. There is no upgrades. Neutron uses the same moveset throughout the entirety of the game. And it uses up a certain unique moveset that you can, you know, utilize to get around the levels in certain areas way more effectively. Next up is Mad Rush. I don't remember what Mad Rush was. Was Mad Rush a chase level? I think it might have been. Chase/platforming levels, similar to how Crash Bandicoot did it with like Crash 2. Not all like, you know, chase. Crash 1 was all chases and chase levels. Crash 2 had some parkour moments, so this will have it as well. Next level after that is Climbing a Tower, which is a vertical level. Oh God, where are we? What happened? Where did we go wrong? Oh, we grabbed that and not the thing. Right, okay, never mind. It's fine. After that, it's a Castle of Threats, which essentially probably teach you about like more environmental hazards and more types of threats. And then the last level is Test What You've Learned, which is essentially just now you're at like the main portion of the castle, walking around and dealing with all the threats, going through the parkour, the stealth, the chase scenes, and all that stuff. Need a drink. And yes, which then leads you to the boss level, the final test, which is a training Hugh. Now, this is a Hugh Neutron dummy in he looks like Hugh Neutron, but as a training dummy, a test dummy, so to speak. And your objective is to fight this test dummy now. I'm going to make this bigger than it actually shows on the thing. And this is where you deal with your first boss fight. And the boss fights are pretty tricky and complex. You're like Crash Bandicoot, where you barely have any moves to, like, you know, fight against the thing. So you have to, like, utilize certain objects and stuff to attempt to beat the boss. Christ and hi, man. So, now you're about to fight this boss and get through to the next level. Once you've beaten the boss, your ship shows up and you get to leave and you go back to the, what do you call it? Now, this has like bonus areas, but I don't quite recall what I had planned for the bonus areas. The bonus area for the odd levels is a moon, so to speak. And this moon is basically like puzzles and stuff. So in this bonus moon for the first level, you got puzzle platforming. Basically, like, it's a puzzle with platforms and stuff. Jump around a bunch of things. Next one after that is a crate mover. This shows you the ability to move crates, which is very important for a certain point at a certain level. I probably should. Okay, do I want to? Yeah, I will do this instead. Try to bring the perspective down a bit. Scale it back. Oh God, back a bit. Do a little bit of this. Increase in size, and there. Or not there. I gotta have this be like around here. Trying to put his hand up while also like having like a bunch of rocks here, but that will be made with the brush. Okay, so the next level after that is sequence timing. Puzzles, but involving a lot of timing and stuff. Then we got basic portals. This is where we get portal puzzles. That's right. But it's not that bad. It's pretty simple. Portal systems. Okay, I think Domadora is completed. I will, however, add a little extra to his body here, you know, because why not? And then the last level of this area is Test of the Mind, which I think is more of like a, you know, kind of like learn what you've, or like, what was it called again? Test what you've learned, but with puzzles instead. So it's like combining all the main puzzles in that area. But that's optional. You don't have to do that. Yeah, there's like X, stars, and circles, but I don't remember what the collectibles were for this area. So then we go on over to the second planet, which is Donut Planet. Donut Planet introduces the next new minigame, and I also think I need to decrease the size of your head a bit, now that I'm looking at it from Jafar. A little bit, not too much. So this gives you your first new thing. So the level that we're going up is called Skate Town. Essentially what this is, you know, Hugh Neutron and with Donut Boy and skating. Remember that video where he's in Tony Hawk's Skater Pro or whatever it's called? So this is where skating is. And don't forget, this is all 2D too. So it's like a 2D skating level. And now I gotta remember where I put Domadora. Here he is. Domadora is like a twink. And I think a lot of people like that. I know one of my friends definitely like that on Discord or DeviantArt. Anyways, now you're going into a crooked lockup. This is going into the crime-fighting aspect of, you know, Donut Boy. Give Domadora a shocked look. Those two having the same, you know, thought process of giant creatures coming their way. God, it's already 2:34. This is why I needed all the time I can get for this month, because this is going to take a while. So next up, you go into slopes and ramps. Another skating level, but mostly involving, you know, slopes and ramps. So you get a lot of height here, which is very cool. Next up is Mad Trucker. I think this is another chase level, but in maybe the skates. I don't remember the reasoning for naming this. But Mad Trucker skate level, that would make the most sense if it's a truck. Kind of like City Escape, but with Hugh Neutron on a skateboard trying to get away from the truck driver. Maybe that was the main reference to that. Next up is Construction Ascent, another vertical level where you are climbing up a construction building. A lot of parkour involved. How do I get this look going? Is it this? Because when I'm doing that, it makes it look like they're surprised, but they shouldn't be a surprise. They should be like this, even with the eyes as big as it is. Alright, next up, it's dangerous skating. Now you're skating down that construction building you just walked up for some reason. Don't know why you're deciding to do this now. Well, time to do it, but now you're skating down this construction. You're going down. Like, instead of, like, you know, going down a slope, you're going down, like, very steep drop with a bunch of pitfalls and stuff where you can die. And, like, most of these levels that I'm talking about don't exactly have, like, certain death scenarios that I, like, go back and look in because of, like, certain hilarious deaths to ensue. You'll see what I mean when I get to the certain one where it has like the first instance. So now next up you got building for criminals. I think what this level is you're now going into the criminal organization area to try to, like, I don't know, stop them continuing the Donut Boy rampage and stuff like that. Next one after that, you go to Subway Zoom, which I believe now you're inside of the subway, trying to get to, what do you call it? You're skating in the subway now. Skating in the subway, uptown, down the street. And after that, you go into a level called Shocking Flood. And what I believe this was is the subways flooded with water, which is electrocuted as well. And that means you're going to want to do a lot of parkour above a bunch of boxes and stuff, a bunch of other stuff, and not fall into the water and get popped out of existence by electricity. And then the last level is Donut Groove. I don't exactly remember what this was. It could have been a skate level. It seems like it would make the most sense for it to be a skate level, but I don't quite recall. I don't quite recall what Donut Groove was. But it's the last level of Donut Planet, and it's, you know, donut involved, I guess. Then you go over to the boss in this area, the level High and Fat, which is essentially a killer donut. So I think the idea here was that the donut is like some crime syndicate or something, and you have to kill it. The donut doesn't speak, but it is trying to eat Hugh Neutron or clap him out of existence and all that stuff. So now you have to fight the boss donut, and I think what you are doing here is a skate boss level. I think that's what it was. Which would make the most sense because this level involved a lot of skating. Alright, so now unlock, unlike the other area, the bonus area here is not a moon, but rather a planet, or in this case, a crystal planet, the same as the, what do you call it? The same as the planet that you're on, but it's crystallized. So, for example, the first level in this is called First Crystal Run. And what this essentially is, now you're going through Donut Planet, but it's all crystal and way more difficult. So, this part is considered like the very difficult levels. Even in the earlier stages, they are still pretty difficult for what you have to worry about. But it's not that hard. Once you've learned how to, like, play the game, you should have some relative ease in order to beat the crap out of this level. So I believe the thing with the bonus planets was you have to get 100% on the planet that has the bonus planet. I don't know. I don't remember what the moon was. I think that was like more of an optional thing, or maybe there's certain something to it. But that's the case of the bonus planet. You need to get 100% there. I don't recall what the moon was, but I know the planet required 100% of that planet. So, next level you go into is called Slippery Skating. So think of it like skateboarding on ice. But, you know, it's a bit more difficult to get jumps. You can't really stop or slow down as much. You have to rely on your ability to continuously run or skate without stopping. And if you were doing that before in the past, this should be easy. If you try to do that now in this level, you will start to realize just how difficult it is to stop when you're on crystal, when you're skating on crystals. So, next level after that you now go into the glassy tunnels, basically like the subways areas, right? The subway, but it's not skating. It's more like you're now jumping across a bunch of subway cars and stuff like that, which is it's pretty annoying because this area specifically is all icy and hard to move in. Mainly these next two levels, which is now Crystal Towers. So now this is basically the same as the construction level, ascending, but it's ascending a more difficult and a different layout with a bunch of slippery slopes. You can fall to your death, stuff like that. Very difficult. Think of it like the Crash Bandicoot ice levels or something. Whoops. Cat over here licking her paws. And then the next level after that is a Brisk Descent, which is another skate level where you descend in a similar fashion to Dangerous Skating. And then you go into the next level, which is, unlike the Bonus Moon, Bonus Planets have a boss. Clear Glazed Goodness, Crystallized Killer Donut. The next boss. Now this is like a more amped up, difficult version of the boss you fought on the planet the Crystal Planet's on. A completely different moveset, completely different setup. You're still skating this one, of course, but it's difficult now because you can't really slow down, and a large majority of the crystallized boss of the donut is way more difficult than the original boss. So you can say that the crystal boss might be like level or world 10 levels of difficulty, which makes sense. The crystal levels aren't really supposed to be something you can get to immediately, because I think that some secrets require you to get like certain things from other worlds, but I haven't really looked into it that much. So, okay. Now after you've done all that, you go into the next planet. Planet number 3, called the Winter Planet. Anybody remember that? Cluck, 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 cluck. Ooh, caribou! Well, that's the entire purpose of this level. Well, it's not the entire purpose of this level, but Neutron goes off on this secondary adventure. So this is where the ice levels come into play. Like, you're technically not supposed to even get to the Crystal Planet in the Donut Planet yet. Not quite yet. You don't have the ability to, get there. And that's fine. You don't need to deal with that pain in the ass level. You can wait a little bit while longer. It's better off this way anyways. So now you're on the Winter Planet. Your first level is Slippery Jumps. So it involves a lot of jumping on slipping and sliding ice. It's not that easy, but it's pretty simplistic. It's nothing too difficult. It is kind of annoying having to deal with it, but it's a good startup at the very least. The next level after that is Frozen Canyons. I think this is a bunch of pitfalls and stuff, and a bunch of rocky, slippery walking points. Nothing you can't handle, but still kind of difficult. Next one after that is the Blue Caves. And now you're in a cave system, walking through the areas, going through all these obstacles and stuff. I'd say we probably come across those frozen, spiky icicles that will fall down on your head, similar like how Crash Bandicoot is. But it's not a case of you go under it and it falls. It's a case of it's constantly falling, I'd like to think. So after that, you go into Cold Dip. This area is now you're out of the cave and in a very open lake kind of place with a bunch of these broken up ice glaciers that you can walk upon. Some are breakable and some are sturdy. Some are very slippery, some are less slippery. The entire level isn't slippery, all in all. There is a bunch of snow as well. But that's aside the point. And we're doing almost 3 hours in. Extra long here. The next level is herd chasing. I think this one is another chase level with a herd. What kind of herd is this, you may ask? I don't know. Buffalo or something? I think it kind of would make sense. After you get through that, you go through the steamy forest. I think this area is like a bunch of trees with like a new kind of mechanic for this level specifically, where the steam blows Hugh Neutron up very high. Not blows him up, he doesn't die to the steam, he uses these to get higher height. Next up after that is Icy Hot Craters, which I think is a bunch of lava. Surrounded with a bunch of ice in the level. It's similar to Cold Dip, but with like a bunch of lava pits and a bunch of like molten rocks, but with like a few different like things to make it unique from like that, so it's not like the same thing over and over again. Next up is mirrored platforms. Now this one's interesting. What this essentially is there's a bunch of invisible blocks or like platforms, and there's this mirror in like multiple areas. There's a mirror in the foreground, there's a mirror in the background, there's a mirror on the ceiling, and there's a mirror in like, I don't know, something else. And you use the mirror to figure out where to jump to. The mirror, however, isn't necessarily a mirror in a sense, but it's rather a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, the landscapes mirror where the invisible platforms are. That's what I'm trying to say. So you don't see another Hugh Neutron in the back, but you do see the platforms, and you do have an idea on where you need to step to get to those platforms. I'd say that one would be a bit tricky. Next up, you go into the Scary Snow Yeti. I think this is also another chase level. And it's a giant Yeti chasing after Hugh Neutron and trying to kill him. Why? I don't know, maybe the Yeti is hungry. And a lot of the creatures here are pretty fast, but Hugh Neutron is not that fast. So after you escape Yeti, you go into the Blizzard Trudge, which is essentially just like a very snow-heavy area, and a blazing blizzard that blows Hugh Neutron back to like the nearest wall, gets him stuck there for a bit, and then the blizzard stops and you're brought back to where it is. So it's like a kind of a timing instance again, where your objective is to try to time your movements to the blizzard's blow and stay behind the walls and crouch behind the walls to ensure that you don't get blown away. Then we go over to the boss for this area, Blood-Nosed Reindeer, Legendary Caribou. Guess what, folks? Hugh Neutron finally managed to find the caribou. I don't remember if him and his team couldn't find it in the episode. It's been a while since I've even seen the show. But he found the legendary caribou, and this is where you fight it. So I think what this fight entails is like this big caribou, and there's like a couple of platforms for Hugh Neutron to jump upon, and the caribou charges, and you're in like this snowy forest kind of scenario. The caribou charges and hits the trees, causing some icicles to fall down. And if you get hit by ice, Hugh Neutron is a one-hit kill in all of this, which I forgot to mention. You get hit once, he's dead. So the caribou does all of its attacks, charging stuff, and you fight it. I don't think I'm going to go too far into the boss fights for this one right now. Maybe I will in a different part or a different video. But yes, you fight the caribou in this one. So, since this planet is an odd planet, planet number 3, we go into a bonus moon rather than a, bonus planet. So, for this one, we got puzzling blocks. I have to imagine it's basically just moving a whole bunch of blocks all over the place to get to certain areas. Next up is a sliding jigsaw. I think this is more same as moving blocks, but this time now you're trying to match a puzzle. You know, the sliding puzzles kind of thing, right? You gotta get squares in certain areas. And you gotta do the same here with a Hue Neutron. Then there's fun with geysers. So it utilizes the steam mechanic, the geysers, so to speak, to essentially try to puzzle parkour up to the exit. It utilizes that feature more. Then we got Sneaking Mind. I think this entire level involved sneaking and solving a puzzle at the same time. What was the main premise, I cannot tell you. I don't really remember. The next level, then, the last level of this, is brick melting. So I think this level involved a lot of melting bricks, ice blocks and stuff. Maybe some of them melt when you step on them, or melt to get to certain areas or something. I don't recall. It's been a while, and I don't quite remember all of the major details of why I named it certain names. But here forth ends the third planet, and now we're going to go into the fourth planet, where things start to get a little bit strange, but it's interesting still, to say the least. Still recording? Good. I don't see a reason for us to not be recording. Everything's still going fine. We're still talking. Everything is still as it should be. I don't have any key bind to mute, so I don't see why it would mute. Don't worry, that's not a nip. That's a golden ring. That's covering around where his nips would be. But I haven't drawn that here yet. And I probably won't. Because, terms of service, maybe? I don't know. It's a guy, though. But he is a feminine. Who knows? Okay, so we're now entering planet number 4, named Jimmy's Junkyard. That's right, Jimmy Neutron is here, but not the same Jimmy Neutron. Now this is where things get weird. So the first level is familiar faces. Essentially, what this level here, it gives you when you enter the level, you get a cutscene. Well, not a level. When you enter the planet, you get a cutscene. So this is where things start to get plot heavy. This is where the actual plot comes in, instead of just going through these levels, on a quest. You come across what seems to be a Jimmy Neutron clone. Not a duplicate. Jimmy Neutron is not qualified for duplicates, apparently. I don't know why. Hue Neutron could, but there's another reason why there's potentially duplicate Hue Neutrons, and you'll see why at the end of this story, which probably won't be done within this episode, in this part. So, as I have said before, part of me wonders if I should... I'm going to probably just simplify his shash so it's less of a hassle for me to draw every time I draw him. His shash has so much complexity to it, so I think what I'm going to do is just reduce it to a couple of, lines and stuff, a couple of strips. Yeah, Dominor is the only one who doesn't have, the traditional cape. He has the arm drape over his, stuff like that, I'm going to also neglect the necklace here as well. It's fine, he doesn't need the necklace. Anyways, familiar faces, you get like a lay of the land. And the next level after that is strange traps. So the entirety of this planet consists mostly on a bunch of environmental traps. Alongside some threats, but mostly just traps. And no, not that kind of trap. Although there will be a certain instance at some point that will test Hugh Neutron's sexuality. But we'll get to that in about like 2 planets worth, I think. 2 planets, including this one. This one is included within the 2 planet count, so yes, 2 planets. So, as I was saying, as I was re-uttering, we now go into the next level, which is buried in tetanus. So you got a bunch of metal. I think the idea here is that this is a chase level again, with a avalanche of junk and scrap and all that stuff. A bunch of sharp metal that will cut the shit out of Hugh Neutron, and he'll get tetanus and be stuck there, and he'll die slowly of tetanus. I don't know what tetanus is exactly, but yes, he will die of it. I know it has something to do with dirty metal going inside your body. Next up is a barrel rolling. So I think this level consisted mostly of rolling barrels. Kind of, you know, the toxic dump level in Crash Bandicoot. It's similar to that, but, you know, in a 2D formation, not 3D. So you gotta, like, dodge these rolling barrels that are, like, coming at Hugh Neutron, and you got, like, these hiding spots you can go in, which is, like, cover spots or something. Utilizing the stealth mechanics for something more than just stealth. Like taking cover, for instance. God, we only got, like, an hour left. I don't even think I'm gonna have enough time to get all the coloring done with here, but it's fine. So then the next level you go to is blocky metal hunks. I think this area has a lot to do with a bunch of moving blocks that are like moving, and there are like hunks of blocks and whatnot. I think that was the main premise of the entirety of that level. So you go through that, a bunch of moving blocks. There's still a lot of traps, so keep that in mind. As we go through this, there's still a bunch of traps. Next up, we got laser body surgery. I don't quite remember what this was. I think it has something to do with a lot of lasers and a rusty junkyard scenario. Yeah, it has something to do with lasers. You know, that kind of stuff. The next level now is Repairman. I think in this level, you're sent into, like, the inner workings of the machinery. Like, quote-unquote, the repairman. You're not actually there to repair anything. You're just there to get through the level. Then, next up, you got abandoned projects. So all of the abandoned projects from this particular Jimmy resides within this area. And the next one after that, monsters chasing me. The next level. It's basically just all the abandoned projects, the certain abandoned projects now chasing Hugh Neutron. And, yes, it's another chase level. The next level after that is, Stairway to Space, which is, it's basically just walking up, or like another vertical level, kind of vertical, horizontal, diagonal in a sense. That sort of level. And it's a lot more difficult. It's got a lot more traps and stuff, a lot more environmental hazards and all that stuff. I feel like this is too thick and too outwards. Needs to be more like here. Just about. And next up, they go to the boss fight of this planet. Junkyard Scrap, aka Mechanical Hugh. That's right. You fought a dummy Hugh. Now you're about to fight a robot Hugh Neutron. which is a pretty tough fight, I will say, for a fact. And this fight is mostly tough because it requires a lot of quick time reaction, quick movement. And this is where things start to get really difficult in this particular boss fight. I'm gonna get this done. Is this the back? Yeah, this is the back. And that's where things start to get difficult after this point. So, this is an even planet, so now we're going to the bonus planet, the crystallized version of Jimmy's Scrapyard planet. Jimmy's Junkyard planet. So this level here is tight jumps. I think what this had to do was just like more moving blocks, but even more like tighter. You got less space to be able to like, less time to be able to move to, ow, you're clawing me, to move to certain areas. And all around, you just don't have a whole lot of time to like jump out of the way of the compressing compactor machines that are going to crush you. Next level after that is Too Close for Comfort. I don't remember what this was. This might have been another chase level where the monster chasing you is way too close for comfort, as the level suggests. And it's always up your ass. It feels like it can catch you at any moment. Like any mistake you make here is going to be an instant death. If you don't make the perfect jump, if you don't jump over the right obstacle in time, if you don't get out of the way in time of this boss, or you run away from this boss perfectly, you're dead. The next level after that is Persistent Beasts. I think this was also on another chase level, which involved, the same concept. Beasts are back again. They're still chasing you. Second chase level in a row, but now it's even more difficult. A lot more environmental hazards to have to worry about. You have to time everything perfectly, or else you're just dead. This has to be adjusted because this is too thick. So I'll make it smaller. Smaller around here and make it look like he's stepping down or something. I mean, his pants are indeed thick. I think I just need to make it... He has like the gi pants that Goku has, kind of. Yeah, there we go. The baggy gi pants. And I think I do need to make you... Alright, I'm going to need you to get over in this direction now. There we go. Alright, so next level after that is Frightened Rush. Was this seriously another... I must be misremembering some stuff here. Frightened Rush must be something to do with rushing through a trash compactor or something. And going through... I mean, that would be a better, like, extra chase level, right? Instead of just having something chasing you, just, like, trash compactor slowly closing in on you with no guaranteed way to get out. And the next up is a Stairway to Hell, which is similar to the Stairway to Space, which is, it's going down now instead of up. And in this area... Once you get to the end, it's basically the same as this, but more difficult and a hell of a lot more traps and threats. And to go to here into the boss fight, which is Glass Machines, i.e. Crystal Mech Hue. Like I've said before, the Crystal boss fights are a hell of a lot more difficult and have a completely different pattern. So you can't utilize the same attack, the same boss strategy in the last one. So this one's way more difficult and is a more hair-pulling boss fight. Needless to say. No need to go further into that. So we're almost done here with this, but I think we can get one more planet in, which is my most favorite planet, by the way. This planet is called Rapper Planet. Now, before I continue on with this, here's a little tidbit. in the ship that Hugh Neutron is on, the volume button and the music button for the, on the ship is stuck. And you can't make it higher, you can't make the volume higher or lower. It's on this very low volume, and you have Jimmy Neutron's theme song in the background. You can't change that because the controls are broken. So once you've completed Scrapyard Planet, you get the ability to switch out, you get the ability to fix the, the radio and all that stuff on a huge ship, mainly because that's technically Jimmy's ship, and the Jimmy clone would know how to utilize it. I think this might be thicker, or maybe not thicker, but just further inwards and not like his hand is more for, yeah, because that definitely does seem a little off, does it not? I think we can move this in more. So yes, you get the radio fixed thanks to a Jimmy clone. Whoops. And now you get to change the volume, and as well as the music to Hugh's theme song, which is essentially just Jimmy's theme song, but catered to Hugh's entire adventure and journey. So, okay, going into Rapper Planet, we go into the level called Beat Music. I think a large majority of this involved like certain musical like areas, some rhythmic parkour sections and stuff like that. Simple stuff. I'm going to try to speed run through most of this area. So then there's Jump to the Beat. Similar concept to the other one, except it involves a lot of jumping and making sure you jump on cue. It's like moving platforms that move to the beat of the music. Next up, there's Musical Chase. In this level, you're being chased by, something. I don't exactly know what particular thing is chasing you in this level and trying to kill you. But you are being chased, and it is frightening. After that, you go to Dubstep Central, which I think involves a lot of beats. The floor bouncing up and down as the beats go. Neutron gets bounced up and down. Kind of like certain beats make him jump higher. No matter where he's on the floor, when certain beats are played, he jumps involuntarily. You can negate this by jumping yourself, but there will be probably certain obstacles in place that you will want to make sure you don't jump in, or else Hugh Neutron is dead. Then you go to Rap City. Now in Rap City, you get to see a bunch of rap. God damn you, you fool! You get to see a bunch of famous rap icons plastered around some billboards. I need a drink. Wash a cat. That finishes that up, which is good because we're almost about the end of here. And one of the more prominent figures is Will Smith. But it's essentially just now you're in the streets. You're trying to get around the traffic, the city lights, and all that stuff. It's like a full-on city level. Unlike Donut Planet, which was like somewhat city-esque, but with a bunch of desserts and stuff. Anyways, the next level after that is Funk Sewers. And Funk Sewers, I think, was basically just like, think of it like the sewer levels from Crash Bandicoot, but it's more music involved with a bunch of, CDs, DVDs, and stuff like that, kind of just like floating around. And, yeah. That's the main premise of that. I think most of the CDs you're jumping on is kind of floaty devices, so they're like little platforming segments, stuff like that. Next level is a Secret Music Society. Whoops, not me to do that. And I think this is more like a creepy kind of level music society, dark dungeon-esque kind of area with a bunch of like musical things here and there. I don't remember the entirety of it, but it is definitely like a music society. The next level after that is music dungeons, which is where all the bad music goes, terrible music. And here's where one of my favorite death scenes come from. In this one, there's a certain pitfall, a few certain pitfalls. And when you fall down one of them, you don't die. You land on your feet, and you're on this stage-looking area with certain sets of characters. I know there's one with Shrek as All-Star plays in the background. Or was it? No, it wasn't All-Stars. It was, how did it go in? The song that goes, and I saw her face, as Shrek is going back and forth with all the Shreks, and Hugh Neutron is also dancing along. And that's just one of the instances, one of the particular scenes that you can get there. It's randomized. When you fall down there, you're essentially, Hugh Neutron just dances involuntarily. He can't stop dancing. And he just keeps dancing and dancing, and he just can't stop dancing until it gets to a point where he is, going to die. And the game gives you continue or retry from last checkpoint. You get the choice to just watch Hugh Neutron slowly die away as he gets skinnier. He can't stop dancing. Also, I just realized something. This is actually taking part of this, so I probably should move this anyways. But yes, in fact, indubitably, that is one of my favorites, because just imagining that you can't stop dancing, you just keep dancing to death. It's just hilarious to think Hugh Neutron in that particular position. I don't know why. Alright, next level is Dank Corridors. I don't quite remember what this was. I think it had something to do with weed, and the level theme was centered around Snoop Dogg, since he is a famous rapper and all that stuff. Wait, I should probably bring this down a bit more. But yeah, that level mostly consists of weed with some music, probably smoke weed every day playing in the background. And next up is a Sound Bit Graveyard, which is creepy, very creepy. One of the main theme for this level is the French Prince of Bel-Air theme song, but slowed down to a halt. Let me see if I can actually find it, and also let me just double check to see if I'm still recording. Good. Bel-Air theme slowed down. Where was it? Ah, yes, French Prince of Bel-Air theme. Slowed down, gone sexual. Watch a Cadillac. It's this one. The one where it sounds like there's it's a cult theme song, and you got this slow talking, deep pitched voice going on, kind of just doing its thing. And it's creepy. It's a dungeon-esque kind of level, but even more dungeony than the other one. And there's a funny death scene here where you step in the path, this certain platform here that has a TV above it. The TV turns on, and this music stops, and it plays the the He-Man theme song where he goes up, and I said, hey. But it's only slowed down to a point where it sounds very grating on your head. And Hugh Neutron goes on his knees, covers his ears, and it's it hurts. Nose is bleeding. And at the point where He-Man says, I said, hey, Hugh Neutron takes his hand and crushes his head, and there goes his head. A gruesome death, but it's one of my most favorite ones in the game. And I really wish I'd have the ability to create it, because me explaining it does not do it justice. You have to visually look at it to really appreciate just how ridiculous that death is. But yes, that's the entirety of that level. And now for my favorite boss fight. Give it up for the one and the only Fresh Prince of Rapper Planet, Will Smith. And it's not the same Will Smith you'd think. Basically, it's... Okay, how do I want to explain? You know how that Skull Monkey does that weird boss fight with the man head and the giant man body and the monkey head? How weird that is. Or we're taking another step further in the weirdness scale and have like Will Smith's head and his hands, and he's kind of like quick moving. It's not even smooth motion. Only smooth motion when his hand moves like this and his head's like this. It's like you're just taking pictures of Will Smith's head and hand and adding it to the boss fight. That's essentially the entirety of this boss fight. And the way this boss fight goes is you're fighting Will Smith. Now this is a very difficult boss fight. Because of you'll see what I mean. This one I'd like to explain. So Will Smith goes at the same pace as the music is, and what it is basically the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song. And it's slowed down, but not enough to where it was in the beginning. It's like, how do I want to set this pace? It's like, now this is a story all about how, and that's the first phase. So once you get enough damage dealt to Will Smith, he gets angry, shakes his fist, slams, and then the theme song goes at the normal pace, and then the second phase starts. A few new attacks gets placed in, and then yes, you gotta get the moments where you can get the attacks in. Because it's not like Neutron is completely barren of attacks. He does have certain attacks going, because he was supposed to deal with threats. Haven't really said much about that. So then once you get to the point where you get another hit in the boss phase, the music goes a little bit faster. The third phase in, Will Smith gets even angrier, slams it, and the song goes as fast as this. Now this is the story all about how my life I flipped him upside down. And it's even faster. And the attacks are even faster and a little bit more difficult to keep up. Now, keep in mind, you only do one hit to go to the next phase. You have to, figure out when you hit Will Smith and when to do the thing. And then, once you get the final phase in, I think I said 3 phases, but it's supposed to be 4, it goes into overdrive. Will Smith's face is red and angry, and then the song goes as fast as, this is a story, and the attack is like vroom, 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 or whatever the phases go. You're having a hard time trying to keep up, but there are certain areas where you can stay safe, and you won't get myrtleized. And so, yes, once you can manage to get the last hit in, Will Smith explodes, but don't worry, he's fine. He just explodes, his screen turns white, and boss completed. You go back to the planet, and you go to this extra area that's not on the list, and you essentially are amongst the rapper gods. There's 3 of them, but one of them is Will Smith, who is still alive. He has deemed you worthy enough, and he will help you make your new soundtrack music to add to the ship hub, if you want to. You can even go as terrible as to have an E-negative kind of soundtrack of the entirety of Neutron or Jimmy Neutron's theme, depending on which one you want to choose. And the other one is Snoop Dogg. I don't remember who the second one was, but I know for a fact Snoop Dogg was involved. So we're almost done with the outline process of the drawing, and I have to add that end here. So before I do that, let's go to the bonus moon, finish that up. So this is essentially, oh yeah, that's right. This has to be here. So this is essentially the bonus move. The first level is Good Ear. I think it has something to do with trying to figure out like a music puzzle or something. I don't know. The second level is Matching the Tone. Again, another music puzzle, except now you gotta match the tone and try to like match it well. I don't know how long the moon levels are, but I do know that they're a significant amount. Next up is Entering Halftime. I think this one might be a Guitar Hero-esque kind of thing where Hugh Neutron is entering halftime or something. I don't remember. And next up is Dramatic Puzzles. I don't remember what this was. Dramatic Puzzles? The only thing I can really think of is it was kind of a, I don't know, a crescendo or something. And then, last but not least, combine this, is a Bit Block Rush, which I think it has something to do with a timed puzzle with moving blocks. Alright, Domadora, are you finished? I think I have to bring you up a little bit more, about the same length as you. And is you ways, or is you head in the right spot? Yeah, especially if these girls are a bit further forward, I put you here a bit, put you a little bit over here a bit. And maybe you here, grab you, rotate you on top of like a brick here. Hey cat, what are you doing? Maybe put you about like right here, maybe make your leg a little bit longer here. And, alright, there we go. So we've went through half of a neutron planet, and we completed the outlining process. And I'm going to end it there. 3 hours and 30 minutes of recording. That's a lot. I mean, I only got like 30 minutes, and I don't think I have enough time to watch it distractible and get. Oh, I'm still going to do it anyways. So there you go, folks. We talked about a whole lot today. We talked about the Barney box, the Barney mouse hole survival thing, Neutron planet, half of Neutron planet. We still got 5 more planets left to explore, and the next planet, a little hint, goes by the name of Dig Planet. So look forward to that in the next part, which is going to be instant because, you know, like all the parts are going to be there. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like these crazy stories, please leave a like, comment about which story was your favorite, and subscribe for more content like this. I still got a lot of stories left in me, a lot of weird game ideas and stuff, so stick around if you want to hear them. But anyways, here ends the first part, the outlining. I'm going to color, shade, and texture these 4 characters in off camera, so I have something to look at while I do this stuff. So, yes, goodbye for now for part 1. Part 2 is right wherever. I'm not doing an end card, so yes, bye.